You're live.
Live?
What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 160. I am your host, Anthony Trapani, and I am always joined by my resident homies. I got Joseph K, Casey Howard, and Joel Horner with me tonight. What up, dudes?
What up? Not always, but sometimes.
I always have at least one resident homie with me.
Yeah.
And tonight we're joined by a friend of the show for a while, you know, and definitely been a part of the Cali scene for quite some time. It's definitely overdue for this man to be on the show with us tonight. I'm very happy and excited to sit here and talk with Sam Lanyon tonight. What up, dude?
Evening all. How are you guys doing?
Good, brother.
What up?
What up, man?
So you came on my radar through Nate, our mutual friend Nate from Montagony and Anomalous, and he had showed me your EP back when you had first put it out, or maybe you were just about to put it out. SL1, by the way, everybody go to Bandcamp and check that shit out. It is a mad. It's only 6 songs or 5 songs, but the song lengths are like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I called it an EP, but then I saw how long it was, and somebody was like, "Your album," and I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay."
But yeah, dude, that was
cool.
something that just, you know, blindsided me when I listened to it, dude. It's really good stuff, and I actually had a great time this week listening to it over and over again. I listened to it probably like 4 or 5 times this week at work, and yeah, dude, it's really, really killer stuff. It's definitely top shelf, you know, on par with any other high caliber musician in our scene right now, dude. So
Thank you. I'm really glad you enjoy.
Just
Hell
to put
yeah.
it like on like what Anthony's saying too, he sent it to all of us, and like probably individually or in the group chat was like, listen to this. Like he like made a big point to like everyone listen, like don't just like skip anything, like listen to the whole thing. He was very, very adamant. So yeah, now I was like listening to it and like, the first thing I said was like, oh Jesus or something. I was like, fucking Jesus Christ. It blew my mind. It was like fucking next level fucking banana tech shred banana.
and it's 5 years old.
Yeah, no, Nate's the man.
I heard it for the first time like an hour ago, and I was like, why the fuck have I not heard this yet? This is super sick. I mean, I give it my highest endorsement possible. So this is fire shit.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
It's like the opposite of your mic.
Yeah, your mic's
Is it
shitty
bad
right
today?
now. Yeah, you're farting a lot right now, dude.
I'm sorry.
Awesome.
I forgot to bring a mic stand home from the studio. So I could plug this in, but I'd have to hold it the whole time.
Well,
Should I do
yeah,
that?
The distortion's worth it.
All right, I'll do that.
No, it's all
it's
good.
pretty,
I logged in, you know, a little later, didn't do the sound test, so.
shit, Jedi Grind in the chat, dude. Haven't seen you in the chat for.
Oh yeah, he's been in here the
weeks.
whole time.
What up, Murray?
Always a pleasure to have Murray in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like with what Joseph was saying, and I'm sure Casey might have something to say about it too, but yeah, dude, there's no way we can keep track of everything, right? So we're eventually going to come across stuff that we're like, oh, dude, I'm 5 years behind on this or something like that, you know? But if, it doesn't really matter when you come across it, you know, if it's still, you still connect with it, then it's new music at that time, you know? And like I said, it's even though it's 5 years old, it's still so relevant today when you listen to what's popular now in metal, and there's lots of variety of stuff that, you know, is popular styles today too, in the progressive metal scene and all that stuff. And the symphonic shit is amazing, dude. I think you should be doing soundtracks for movies and shit, dude.
That's that's an idea that I've had for quite a bit some time. So lately I've been trying to fill the old Instagram with just cinematic stuff. Like it's not geared towards any projects or anything, but it's more like a, hey, if you need work, hit me up, because
So is it independent?
yeah, it's not really. I mean, I have been talking to a buddy who's working on a low budget horror film. And I'm waiting to hear back from that because he asked me to help him like kind of write some scenes and stuff like that. It's not like super long. It's like 30-minute horror comedy, and what they're looking for is like the actual horror, like kind of OST, like so that it like makes it that much more hilarious.
Yeah.
So
when you say writing scenes, are you actually contributing scenes to the movie, or are you saying writing two scenes?
no, scoring to scenes, excuse me.
Go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, but I think I need to go back and remix that because I think I was just the SL1. I was very excited to just pump it out, just to get something out there, because for a second I was just releasing whatever single, but then it was mutual friend Mike Williams. He was like, you should put a package of songs together, and make it something more to chew on. So I was dancing around with that, and that's when I heard of Spitfire Audio. They sample orchestras, and they sample them by the section. So it's kind of like the tune track superior drummer of orchestras. So,
Oh yeah,
pretty
awesome.
neat.
Yeah, dude,
cool.
totally, dude.
It's a software, but totally worth it.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into some plugs before we get off and running completely. You know how we do it, battleforgecoffee.com. Up top, as always, our homies in Deeds of Flesh put together a coffee company. Shit, they've been going almost 2 years, maybe? At least a year, but it's good stuff.
Battleforge is like 2 or 3, or how long is the podcast? 3 years? Yeah, so probably
3 years,
2.5 years.
Something like that. Either way, dude, it's a great company. They make good product, and they also have good swag and all that shit. You guys can go support Deed's side hustle over there. Cali Death represent. Then we got Generator Rehearsal Studios. Oh no, I always do that one second now. GeneratorRehearsalStudios.com is where you're going to go to rent a space to jam in if you're in the SoCal, specifically Oceanside area. The homies over there, you'll be also helping out some friends. Then with us, CaliDeathPodcast.BigCartel.com is where you could get a shirt or two. That's the only types of shit we sell on that site, and that's how you can support our merch pile for the next run, because that's literally what we do with that money. Just put it into the next run. And then what else? Is there anything else? Any shows, Joseph? You got shows?
How's my mic now? Is it any better?
It's better, way better.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I'm playing. Why didn't that pop up? A show with To Violently Vomit was announced. I'm trying to display it, but it's not coming up. But it's Gulf Coast Death Fest, Houston on March 8th.
No, I was kidding.
And that's with a bunch of sick ass bands out in Houston, Texas. And then next week is New Jersey Death Fest, March 15th. So basically back-to-back weekend shows in March, To Violently Vomit, Texas and New Jersey. So that'll be the next confirmed stuff, and then some other stuff coming up we're excited to announce soon. So, there it is.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to show them too. They're because they're uploaded as backgrounds.
Overlay. Okay.
Son of a bitch.
Do it again real quick, dude. Because you should show these.
Here they come. Here they come, boys. Here's the Gulf Coast Death Fest. Anyone want to take a stab at the band in the middle top there?
Nope.
Domestic
And then
terror.
I'm gonna go with
Middle top.
oh, you might be onto something with because I see an E too. Ergot. No.
I
Boric.
forget. I'll look it up.
I'm sick with Borix.
No, I bet you it's a
Ouroboros.
2-word. It's a 2-word thing in that top. It's like Kodiak, Kodiak
Yeah.
with a C.
Oh, a 2-word thing? Ah, that's rude. I think you're right.
Well, you
Yeah,
figure it
no.
out. I want to shout out Stages of Decomposition, co-headlining, and then Volsifinus and Submerged have some San Diego homies that are really cool guys. So that's who
Nice.
I'm very excited to jam alongside with. And then here's
Oh,
the
yeah.
New Jersey Death Fest lineup. We got Dripping headlining the next
Ooh,
day.
Damn.
We're playing alongside
Sick.
Waking the Cadaver, Condemn, Putrid Pile,
Nice.
Malignancy. A lot of big hitters there.
Oh man,
Shout
that's
out
so sick.
I was stoked to see some Dripping jam footage that had recently surfaced from like a newer jam, and I was like, "Oh shit, dude, Dripping's coming back!" And now here's confirmation, dude.
That was insane for me to discover because it's kind of like Cephalic Carnage style, like almost like combining any possible other music style into like brutal slamming death metal.
Mhm.
And they were doing it like 20 years before the new era of kind of like hip hop influenced slam. So they were kind of like way ahead of the curve on that. And I don't know,
Yeah,
just a
I
cool
enjoy that
era
album.
for experimenting. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I got going on. And then in the meantime, expect some news from my solo project and some other stuff. So
Boom.
Sick.
Hell yeah. And Sam, where do you want people to go for you?
You can go to the Anomalous the merch page that we have posted on our Facebook. We now have our pre-orders up for the Recreate of Cognitive Dissonance. We have CDs, we have t-shirts, we have posters, we even have a package bundle where you can get all of those together. There's, I believe there's even an advertise of copies of Omnivalent. So if you don't have your copy yet, go ahead and buy it.
Great,
Awesome.
great album.
Also a great like advertisement. Usually most people are like, you can go to like bandcamp.piss.bart. That was like that was probably one of the better, like I'm hyped.
And again,
I'm
plug that SL1 real quick too. This Bandcamp page for that too, right?
Yeah, there's samlanyon.bank or bandcamp.sam, one or the other, bandcamp.samlanyon.com. And then it's the only one up there. I need to make something new and put something else up there. Yeah, there it is. And if you scroll to the top, you can see my old school, little mini portable setup that thing was recorded on. It was a pain in the dick because it only has like 8 gigs of RAM.
but green though.
No, those were those monitors. My lady found me my wife, excuse me. She found me some pretty decent sized monitors, and it kind of like set the mood. I'm like, all right, I can get down with this.
Yeah.
And then one more plug. Shout out to my buddy Alejandro Yanez. His band called The Future Ancients. Go and check that out. It's so if you like Spanish flamenco and you like death metal and some black metal, you'll enjoy that. It goes like this bossa nova Spanish flamenco into this Animals as Leaders, and then this disgusting black metal. And there's a whole lot of elements in there. I had the pleasure of helping produce it a little bit.
Sick.
And he is a local Mendocino shredder. I would recommend checking that out. The Future Ancients.
Nice.
The Future Ancients, dude.
I'm
Can you hear me?
sorry.
Can you hear me?
I made a mistake. All right, go ahead.
We good?
Yeah.
All right.
He was cutting out. When he was talking, his voice was cutting out. So I was trying to like eliminate
Fix
that
it in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's all good, dude. All right, dude. So let's fucking get going on this. Sam, dude. Let's go back to your childhood. Let's hear about what it was like coming up, earliest memories of art, music, creativity, that type of stuff. What your parents were listening to. The show.
Absolutely. So I come from a musical family. My mother, not so much. She sang songs, the songs that she loved growing up in her era, like the 60s and 70s, rock era. And my dad brought me up on what they would call classic rock. I call it 70s and 60s and 70s rock, rock and roll, because that's what it was. Calling it classic, I think, is a little. Yeah,
Name some bands.
Like Led Zeppelin, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, Allman Brothers Band, and I think when I was 3, that's when I started noticing that I really liked percussive elements, taking pencils or spoons, just banging on anything that I possibly could. A lot of people. So, to back up real quick, I'm actually a drummer first. A lot of people don't know that because they hear my guitar work. So, I started playing drums. My brother tells me earlier, but I say age 3. I would say probably the comfortable area when I first landed on a drum set. My brother started teaching me his first piece was age 3. But my dad had VHS tapes. Not only he had this huge stereo system. I'm going all over the place. I have ADHD. Bear with me.
I'm down.
Yeah, this huge stereo system had like that EQ on it, and then it had all these other knobs. But up top was a vinyl player, and then 2 cassette players. But he had all this vinyl that he collected through his time, and he also had VHS tapes. Yeah, what up, VHS?
Hell yeah!
There would be like music videos of anything and everything. Performances from Allman Brothers Band, which I would just be enamored staring at it, like just listening to the guitar work, not knowing what was going on. But then the band ZZ Top caught my ear, like for the first ear and eye, because it was the music video for, can't remember if it was Sharp Dressed Man or Give Me All Your Lovin', one of the two. But just seeing those 3 musicians play together, I couldn't help but it was sensational to me,
Right,
and I was like, that is cool. That's what I want to do. Like, that's when I grow up to be as tall as my dad, that's what I want to do. Then I, saw Allman Brothers Band, of course, Jimi Hendrix, whatever live performances he had, just the fact that human beings were performing in front of human beings crammed together.
Yeah.
I was like, that is where it's at. Like, that's where the imagination hit.
Totally.
So
I got the echo again, dude.
the
Are you fucking with the? Wait, sorry, dude. Joel, you fucking with shit again?
No. I think it might be you.
For real? Well, now it's fine. But when he talks, I echo. So like, anytime I'm like, yeah, I hear, yeah.
Whatever, dude. I think you're just those mushrooms are kicking in.
All right, sorry. I just don't want it to be a thing like the whole fucking episode.
Roll with it.
All right, let's do it. So yeah, you were getting into how performing.
Yes.
I heard it right there too. Oh no, it's back. Okay. So you're having me click things that are
No,
actually
I'm not. Nobody's telling you to click anything.
Oh, now I'm getting it.
No, it's gone now, right? It's gone now, right?
Here we go.
What?
I think it might be Professor. Do you have? Are you listening through speakers?
Oh, I'm getting it
No.
hard.
Okay.
But here, what if I?
Shall I jump out and jump back in again?
No.
We'll figure it out. So what is it that we're fucking with though? Like, what is it that's causing it?
Such a
Joseph.
disaster, dude.
Joseph.
Dude,
Mercury
this guy has
retrograde.
called it a disaster stream, dude.
Thanks, generic name 987. So are we just gonna keep trying to go or what?
I know. I don't hear the echo anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, just proceed.
But Sam does.
Does he?
Are you hearing the echo right now,
I'm
Sam?
getting it hard. Yes.
You're the problem.
Oh,
I'm just
really?
I'm the problem. Yeah.
Huh.
Let me exit and get back in.
No. It can't be
Mess
something
with
to do
some
with that.
settings here, but-
Do you have your monitors playing as well as your headphones?
No, my headphones are so I have these THX like monitors that plug right into the headphone jack. So it's
But
not
they
like
have
running into
those
crazy.
monitors are not on though, right? Like you can't hear the monitors aren't coming out.
No,
displaying
no,
stuff.
you
Okay.
can't hear anything. Yeah,
On the
my
settings,
family's watching TV behind me, so they can only hear me talking to myself.
I've gone through the settings.
of the audio and the echo cancellation
Yeah. They're both on.
for him too.
Yeah, if I turn off the echo cancellation, then I can hear myself talking. Which
just wondering
means
if he could check.
I
maybe.
have. Oh wait, echo cancellation must be off to use stereo. Excuse me.
That it
I
should
have
be
reduced mic background noise. That's weird.
Turn, yeah, make sure the echo cancellation thing's on.
Echo.
it should be on.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
On.
echo cancellation is on. Reduce mic background noise is on.
Very good. Try it now. Is it still?
Sounds good to me.
I'm still getting it. It's
Oh,
Same
really?
with
okay. It sounds good to everyone else. This is crazy.
You could restart your computer too.
Yeah, we could chat it up for a few minutes while you
Yeah,
restart or
I
whatever.
would try that, dude. At this point,
Do you think a restart would?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back, gentlemen.
All right.
No problem, dude. It's all good.
So you guys want to do like a wiener length comparison? I'm just kidding.
I think I'm. Actually, it's pretty cold right now. I might lose.
all right.
Yeah,
All right,
dude.
chat,
This
what's
is,
up?
this
So-
is
Guys,
for
I guess
160
Christmas.
episodes, dude. We should be happy that we've had the least
Yeah.
amount of technical difficulties. So, and doing it live, you gotta just deal with this. So it's all good.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck!
How's everybody?
Fuck this guy.
Are you guys
Fuck
ready for the?
this-
Are you
I
you
got
there? Are you
some
ready for
shit on.
Jesus' birth?
I
Are you
got
guys
some
ready for
prods.
Jesus' birth?
Oh,
Prods.
it's coming up.
Look at
Oh,
this.
Yeah,
damn,
I'm
that was
pretty
a quick
stoked.
restart.
Hell yeah,
You
dude.
see family and stuff.
Yes, sir.
What
Yeah.
up, dog?
Yay, nay.
I'm back, and
Do you hear echo?
when people. Okay, so the echo's gone, but there's a lot of static when someone speaks.
Okay.
Let's see. Edit mic settings. You have all the things on. 4.7 inches.
You know what? Let me fuck with my settings as well. Let me just see if
Okay,
I
okay.
can't
It's a fun thing about
send it through like a different set of speakers. Like,
their background is like immaculate. Like literally looks like.
is like immaculate.
Oh, God. Hear myself now.
Hey, testing.
Hey. Oh, it's gone. So
Yeah, dude.
podcasting.
Podcasting's
I get-
fun, dude.
So what do you guys do for
That's why we
Christmas?
do it every week.
Yeah, what are you doing? I mean, Anthony, you're in Rockland. I mean,
Yeah.
what's your
one
address?
second.
What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm having a long weekend up here. I took tomorrow off, so I'm gonna be chilling up here until Tuesday morning. Yeah, dude. Got Santa coming down the chimney, dude.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday night, dude.
Fuck
Better
yeah.
watch out. I had a crazy psychedelic thought about Santa and how he would actually get it done. You know, like what would be the
There we
most
go.
efficient
So
way
we want-
for him to actually land at everybody's house at midnight. So he'd have to be moving from the North Pole to the South Pole up and down like a lie detector machine as fast as he could, hitting all the chimneys that cross as the Earth's spinning. So he's actually technically in one spot and the Earth's moving around. So no matter where he lands, it's still midnight at every single house. What up, dude?
Okay, I
Psychedelics
think
are sick.
Fix it?
I think I did. Yeah, everything
Nice.
seems to be
So,
going.
yeah.
I think it was probably the way that I routed everything. My bad.
No,
It's all good.
worries.
No, it's all good.
Awesome.
We don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, kind of start back where you were talking last with the
ZZ
things
Top
you were
live
saying. ZZ Top.
performance.
Oh yeah, so I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, and I come from a family of 6. I have there's 3 boys, 3 girls, and I'm the youngest of 3 boys. My 2 older brothers were drummers. My brother Chuck was the one who sat me down at the drum kit, and he just like taught me like some simple beats, you know. And it was like a monkey see, monkey do situation. He didn't explain any theory. He was just like, do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and then he's like, all right, now let's teach you what drum fills are. So then did some drum fills, and he started teaching me like the puzzle, like here's your main beat, here's your drum fill, then you go into your, started teaching me like the 4/4 drum structure.
You said this is your brother, right?
Yes, my older brother.
How much older is he?
Brother. He They'll probably kick my ass. I forget his age every single time, but
how many of them are you? How many are you? How many siblings?
So it's a family of 6. I have 2 older brothers, 1 older sister, and then 2 younger sisters. And then my oldest sister, she was like more of a singer. She sang in choir, like in high school. My oldest brother, who started me on drums, he played in like jazz band and stuff like that. So he would come home and teach me what he was learning. Then the middle brother, my brother Doug, he was the one who was listening to like the metal stuff first, and he would like not impose it on me, but like I would hear it in the room like next door. And he was into, like the new metal stuff like Tool, no, not new metal, but Tool, Korn, Slipknot. My oldest brother Chuck, he was more into like the digital composers like Nine Inch Nails and Aphex Twin, but
yeah,
we were still like a percussive like set of 3. But I was, jamming to ZZ Top and Allman Brothers and the Doors. My older brother Doug, he was jamming to punk bands and Korn, and then my oldest brother, he had like a MIDI controller where he was like being percussive on the keys, but he would still jam on the kit. So he had a band, I forget what they're called. I think it was something like Red Eye Girl somewhere in high school. And he took the kit that I used to practice on. So there was like a gap where like music was like relevant, but it wasn't like something I was doing like in grade school. So that's when I was like into movies. I was into the music that was in movies. If it wasn't scenes that like, blew my mind away, it was movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was the music to movies, like Hans Zimmer scores, John Williams scores, Danny Elfman scores, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Lion King, Gladiator,
Right.
So I think when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, sick drummer. But somewhere between 3rd and 4th grade, the drum set remerged back into my home, and I was like, oh, that's right. I used to bash the hell out of you and think it was the most sensational thing ever.
Right.
Let's get back into this, So around that time, it was very rare to see, metal on TV. Sometime before that, that's when I heard Metallica, the Black Album, and I was like, what is this? Like the production, the guitars, the singing, it resonated, So I'm like, is there more out there? Of course, we didn't really have MTV. We just had like VH1. So you didn't really see too much of that. But then when Mediacom, Dish Network started coming around and people started getting satellite TV, you started getting MTV2, and you started seeing more, Slipknot, Tool, Korn music videos. And my older brother, he drove this, I think it was an El Camino, but he put this huge like stereo system in it with a huge woofer, like real nice and loud. And he always took me on ride-alongs to like listen to the music that he was listening to. And he showed me one Slipknot track, and he's like, could you do that with 1 foot? I'm like, that's impossible. There's no fucking way that dude's doing it with 1 foot. And he's like, well, it's called double bass. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, so let's go home. And we'd open up the thick musicians friends that you can like subscribe to for free back in the day.
Yeah.
And he would show me, he's like, that's it right there. It's called a double pedal, and you can use 2 of your feet. I'm like, I gotta get my hands on one of those. But it didn't happen until somewhere in, I want to say like middle school, when I was 11. I had a friend who moved from Vacaville. His name was Aaron Paulia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Of Mice and Men.
I've heard it's a huge band, right? That's a big band, right?
Huge band. He is their vocalist.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
Their lead singer. Yeah. but he moved like a couple of blocks away from like where I lived out in Lake County, and he heard me talking about playing guitar, and he's like, I play guitar. So I was like, all right, we'll get together and jam. I think I should back up a little bit. ADHD kicked in.
So
So
you're getting, yeah, you came across the double pedal, and then that became
Yes.
like a new goal. Get the double
Yes.
pedal.
It became a mission to just find one so that I can get back to the monkey see, monkey do, because there was no drummers where I lived to teach me anything. So everything was watching, what this drummer was doing, what that drummer was doing, and then going back to the kit and refining the technique, if there was any. So sometime when I was during that conversations that I was having with him before I met him, I should say, I started skateboarding with my older brother's friend, Nick Marcelino, who lives right across the street from me. And he had this Gibson knockoff of a 6-string. And I was like, oh, that's right, you play guitar. So I'm sitting there looking at it while he's just, editing his skate videos that him and my brother used to do, and I'm just staring at the guitar and I'm like, hey man, you mind if I like pick this thing up? I'm like 11 years old, about to turn 12. And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I'm just pressing frets, like
Yeah.
noticing, because the way that I learned drums was listening to it by ear. So I was able to deconstruct songs percussively. So I started going, I wonder if I can do this with guitar. So of course, the first thing I started figuring out was just the like root notes to Inner Sandman. Da, 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 da. it sounded total like garbage, but I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And he's like, are you playing Metallica? And he's like, no, man, no, this is the stuff you want to learn. And he showed me Deftones. Deftones is what he was into. He's like, you need to listen to this. He gave me Around the Fur.
Yeah.
So
It's got some riffs.
Yeah.
It's one of the first riffs I ever learned was the
My Own Summer. Yes.
Yeah.
My Own Summer. So he showed me that riff, and then he showed me the second riff, and that's how I found out about drop D tuning.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, this is making it easier. You don't have to, power chord everything all over the place. So I messed around with that, and then I took that home and I listened to that album from front to back. The song that stuck out to me the most was Be Quiet and Drive.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, do you know how to play this song? And he goes, no, I don't. And there's no tablature for it anywhere. And I'm like, what are tabs? And he's like, you don't know what tabs are? I'm like, no. And he's like, this is the code. This is the code of what, because there's no guitar teachers around here who are going to teach us this shit. So the numbers are the frets, the lines are the strings. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So back in the day, we had dial-up internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was scouring the earth for whatever tabs I can find. I'm like, okay, well, what about Korn? No, there's no Korn tabs. What about Slipknot? No, there's no Slipknot tabs. But there's Deftones tabs. It was the strangest thing on earth. And then, of course, there was the new metal phase where it was like, there was also Papa Roach and those catchy things that was just shoved down your throat on MTV. As much
Linkin Park.
Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. So around that time, I had this friend from grade school. His name is Aaron Moore, who's also a fantastic musician from Lake County. His dad was also starting to play guitar. And I went over to his house. We used to just like hang out, where you just have that one friend who you hang out with in grade school. And he's like, yeah, my dad's starting to play guitar. And I'm like, really? Let's go check it out, because I play guitar too. So I sat down with his dad's showing me like he's playing like jamming AC/DC and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, my dad listens to that stuff. And he's like, okay. I'm like, can I see it? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I'm playing Deftones and whatever I was figuring out at the time. And he's like, do you have a guitar? I said no. And he's like, how is this possible? How are you able to play all these songs and you don't have a guitar at home? I'm like, well, I got like this acoustic nylon my brother has, but He's like, yeah, but you're muting the strings like well, and you're using palm mutes as if you own one at home. You really don't have one. I said no. So he's like, why don't you come work with me a couple of weekends? Because he did like construction. So he just made me do like, you know, small labors and stuff. And he bought me my first guitar. It was like a Excel. It was like a cheap knockoff of Fender Strats, but it was great. It blew me away. I was like, wow, now I can have my own guitar at home and go home and practice whatever I want and not have to worry about, you know, someone saying, oh, are you playing Metallica or are you playing Slipknot? So I took that thing home and just started figuring whatever I could out by ear, even if it was wrong. Even if I knew it was wrong, I'm like, I like this song. Let's sit here and like press hold the rewind button on the CDs, because that's how you rewound songs on CDs, was you held you held the rewind button, right?
Yeah.
So over and over again until I, you know, hear my brothers going like, hey dude, you know, we really like those albums, like can you just be a little more careful? I was like, I'm just rewinding it, I'm not scratching it.
Yeah.
So a few years into that, that's when I met Aaron Pauley, and Aaron Pauley was like, dude, come to my house and jam. And the coolest part about Aaron Pauley's family was they had it was a nice house, and it looked like there was two garages, like for like one car here and one car there. They made this room out of like the second garage, and it was just perfectly insulated. You could jam all night, like practically.
Hell yeah.
It was like there was a drum set in there. There was amps. There was just a jam room where a place where, you know, young musicians can thrive.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, wow, dude, this, you know, because I used to play on my drums in the garage and, you know, have to turn the volume down. You can get as loud as you want,
dude. It's
in
so
this like
cool.
little den room.
It's so cool to you know, come across people that have parents at that age, you know, that are totally 100% in on their kids' interest, you know, to the point where, I mean, maybe his dad or his mom or both of them are musicians as well, and they use it too. But to have a space like that, or, you know, have a friend that has parents that make it like possible for these kids, any kids, to get together and just, you know, express
Full
and
volume, like let's
yeah.
hear a guitar full volume. You're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and have the
this thing's got
freedom.
power.
Yeah, have that freedom to just, you know, walk around in the land of creativity, and hopefully it you know, sparks something in them. But having that space, dude, is the main thing. And I want to be that dad, dude. Like when I get my place finally, I definitely want to let my kids use that space.
I'm
as
coming
well.
over.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Do it for
Absolutely.
podcasts, and then also, you know, have a space where they can let loose on some shit.
Shout out
Because-
to Osa too. She's like they're trying to move to Rockland, right? And she's like sending me all these properties. Like they should get this one, this one, this one, this one. She's like
Yeah.
obsessed. She's like, why haven't they pulled the trigger yet? There's this one with a pool and 5 bedrooms, and it's like in this neighborhood, blah blah. And I'm like, probably Anthony's like a pussy or something. Or sorry, I mean, no, I mean the 6 feet under guy called me a pussy. I got to call someone else a pussy. But I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea, because there's like a lot of places in that area where I'm like, damn, dude. So like you have the opportunity to live in that area. It's awesome.
I'm really trying not to have a mortgage. If we're going to get into that real quick, I don't want a mortgage. I want to buy a place outright, and I got a certain amount of money that, you know, I'm just below what I really want. So I'm now starting to think that I do have to take out a little bit of a loan to throw on top of it to get what I'm actually looking for, or the market can drop for me, whatever. Fucking
just for you.
Yeah. I can't believe I just said that. how many people would fucking, you know, their lives would totally change if the market crashed? And I'm like, dude, I hope it crashes for me.
No, I mean,
asshole.
And what Anthony's not saying, Anthony he bought a house at the right time, and the fucking value went way up, sold it, and now he has a chunk. But you know, like everything's so expensive nowadays. So it's like,
I know, dude.
It's really hard to just like pull the trigger on something, you know?
Especially when you got a family of 5, dude. I gotta have enough rooms for everybody.
Yeah.
Space it without. And another thing too, up here real quick, and we'll get off this pretty quick, but the backyard space up here sucks, dude. They crammed these houses in close to each other, so a lot of the places that look sick, you end up with no backyard. We need some backyard, dude. So yeah, I'm in the middle of all that. We'll
Hashtag
eventually
backyard.
find a place. I don't want to settle. That's the thing. I'm being selfish. I'm not going to settle, dude. I got to get, if I made that move, I got to get what I want, what I'm looking for, you know?
For sure.
Exactly.
No, don't compromise, dude. Like I'm with you there. Like just
Right.
Where are you living,
know,
Sam?
I live in the Willits.
Okay.
It's like
Willits.
20 minutes north of Ukiah. It's in Mendocino County. It's about
That's right.
I want to say I'm about a 2-hour drive from Nate Venerucci. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was looking at a house out here. Another thing you got to watch out for is the rich people who have no problem slitting your throat.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I were looking at this house that was just perfect, and the realtor was just like, "All right, we're gonna move forward," and we're like, "Sick, let's do this." And about a week later, they were like, "Hey, somebody offered 100,000 more. Like, we're sorry."
Jeez.
Yeah.
So,
It is like that. It's still
Like cash.
yeah.
People are buying houses like they were when the market was down when I first bought my place, outbidding to make sure that they get the place. And now the market's up, but people are still outbidding. It's kind of weird. But everybody's just trying to get out of place because after, the pandemic, everybody a lot of people wanted to leave the places that they were in,
Yeah.
including us.
What do you think about it, Nate? Like Nate, do you?
Oh yeah, dude! Shout out,
Nate.
Nate. We were just talking about you.
Yeah, a lot of people are buying houses like in cash. Yeah, I've heard that from some realtors I know in SF that people just go like, yeah, I'll make it's like a dilapidated, falling apart place, and it'd be like, all right, dude, $1 million. And people are, like, someone will come in like 1.5, and they're just like, Jesus Christ! It's like a family comes in and says 1.5, and they're like, all right, well, I'm out. But Jesus Christ, like, it's like it gets aggressive out there. But yeah, cardboard boxes, they're getting expensive too. Like when you like, I mean, yeah. Anyways, cost of living sucks. But anyways,
My desk is a cardboard box for me.
I mean, your background's probably the thickest background I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. And it was like a last minute choice. I'm a huge fan of Arabic culture and architecture. And I was looking through this site called Free Pick, and this is actually an AI generated image.
Damn.
And so yeah, ever since I was a boy, and like when Aladdin came out, I thought the palace and everything was just kind of the coolest architecture
Epic.
I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, when I have meetings, with the guys or anybody who I, work on music with, I don't use this one. I use like an Arabic like bedroom. It's got like a plant here, and I like to make it look like you don't get a sense of time and you don't get a sense of urgency.
Yeah, that's smart. Kind of giving everyone like a sense of calm, or just like, it's not like, because behind me right now is Banana Town. It's like a bunch of guitar. It's like a bunch of scattered things, and it kind of
but it's real.
But yeah, but it does bring a little bit of sense of a stress, though. It's like oh, these things. It's like like if you were to just have it be like calm, like what you have right now. I think when you're talking about like getting into a group with your band and stuff and talking, it makes it like just more vibe. Let's focus on each other, not this guitar over here, like these things over here, like it's like it kind of just makes it calm. And I think that's actually a smart thing.
Well, I'm looking at your guitars going, what is that? Like, let's play that thing.
I got I don't know, a couple guitars that make the strings vibrate. I got promoted today, and my boss took me out and got me hammered at noon. So
there you go.
You get.
Have you guys ever fucked with AI art? Have you guys ever tried to make
that means
some
what
AI?
Sam just said. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because if that was AI generated, I recently just did a 3-day trial on some shit, and I couldn't get anything to come out sick, but I was doing stupid shit like David Lynch meditating in a giant cup of coffee or something like that, and seeing what would come out, and doing it like you have a bunch of different like filters you could put it through, like evil or Christmas, and it comes up with some pretty funny things. But there were some weird ones that popped out too. Not good enough to keep, but it's still fun. If you find a way,
Yeah.
to like word things right, you end up actually getting kind of what you're looking for. They're not really good on recreating faces as well as you would want it to. Well, at least the one that I was using. It's called Da Vinci.
It's like brand new. Like give it like 5 years.
Yeah. It is wild though that it literally spits it out in 15 to 30 seconds or whatever. Boom, 3 different versions of what you wrote.
Generic name is just fucking roasting the whole time, dude.
So
Yeah,
was Mummification the first?
Oh yeah.
Was Mummification the first band you played for?
Oh shit.
No, actually the first, so getting back to the story with Aaron Polly and his little jam lair, so we were like 11, 12 and 13, and that was the first group of humans I started jamming with. In fact, we influenced, so the gentleman whose father bought me my first guitar, his name is also Aaron. We were like, dude, you're gonna play bass. He's like, I don't do that. We're like, you do now. So we started teaching him whatever we could on the bass, but now he's actually a fantastic guitar player. He's got his own studio. And that was, we were not aware of the group Menace to Society, because that's what we called ourselves. We're like, yeah, dude, this is our first band. We're gonna do this. But then Aaron Polly ended up moving back to Vacaville. And then the first band I joined, I don't know if he's in the chat. His name is in the chat. He would be Crap Cannon, but his name is Jordan Richardson. I was still practicing on my kit at home. I got the back up a little bit. Aaron Polly, his parents got him like a double pedal. It was like that Gibraltar double pedal. It wasn't like Iron Cobras or anything like that.
Mhm.
Well, he was just like, here, dude, take this. Like, I don't need it. Go ahead. Like,
And you're just like, oh,
yeah, like here we go.
My whole life, dude.
Yeah. So after the gap between Aaron Polly leaving and me meeting Jordan Richardson, I was practicing whatever Slipknot I could, whatever Korn I could, mostly Slipknot though, like because like Iowa had came out when we were like 13, so that was like my main thing, was trying to figure out what Joey Jordison was doing. Joey Jordison was my favorite. Like I wanted to be Joey Jordison.
Oh yeah.
So I started growing my hair out, getting it long so that I can windmill while doing whatever on, if I joined a band. So during that time, I'm discovering music. My brothers are feeding me music. Meeting some people who are feeding me music, and another mutual friend. His name was Travis Parker. Travis, we miss you, dude. You need to get back on making music again. Travis was the one who was like into the death metal. He was into Cannibal Corpse. He was into Deicide. He had a band. He was trying to start a band with Jordan Richardson. I forget what they were called at the time, but he was like, why don't you come over and hang out? Jordan, you're a drummer, right? So come hang out and jam with Jordan. So Jordan was like, do you know any Metallica songs? I'm like, yes, I do. He's like, what songs do you know? And I'm like, well, I just saw a performance of the song Fade to Black, and I really enjoyed that song. He's like, I know how to play Fade to Black. I'm like, okay. He's like, let's play it. So we played Fade to Black perfectly from front to back together. It was just a guitar player and a drummer, right? We played it perfectly. And Jordan's looking at me like, okay, this is happening. Like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So he said there's actually there's a guitar player and a bass player. Their names are Ryan Johnson and Jimmy Stroop. Shout out. They're looking for a guitar player and a drummer. Why don't we go, hang out with them and see what happens, see what sticks. So we go and hang out with them. Instant friendship, right? Like they were already friends with Jordan, but then they hang out with me and they're like, yo, are you in a band right now? I said, no. They're like, would you like to be in a band with us? I'm like, yes, please. There's nothing out here in this small town like this. And Ryan was a fantastic guitar player, still a fantastic guitar player to this day. And Jimmy was the bass player, but he was I'm not trying to disrespect him, but he looks and sounds like James Hetfield.
Well, that's not disrespect.
Dude, no, it was amazing, you know. So it was like the way that the band sounded was like Slayer Pantera guitars, Metallica vocals, and Slipknot drums. Like,
Nice.
picture how that sounded. So we're having trouble finding band names. Finally, I don't know who came up with it, but the band was called Evisceration. That was my band throughout high school. So we played a couple of shows like locally, you know, like we played like some battle of the bands for the Cali High School, and then we played a talent show. And I was like, Dad, you know, my band's like, you know, playing. My dad's like, okay, yeah, I'll come see your band. And the drum set I was using at the time was this blue Sonar kit that belonged to Ryan's brother Philip. And Philip was like, hey, dude, you know, I got these Iron Cobras. You want to use these Iron Cobras? I was like, yeah, like absolutely. So it was just a 5-piece kit, you know, and I mixed the whatever shitty cymbals I had, you know, lying around from my childhood, mixed it with his cymbals. We played the talent show and my dad saw it. My dad took me home that night. And he said, you're fucking serious about this? I'm like, yeah, I am. And he goes, when income tax comes around, you and I are going to go and we're going to get you something.
Nice.
So my dad took me to, I think it was called Skip's Music in
Oh,
Auburn.
Sacramento. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I bought
Yeah,
stuff in there.
so he took me to Skip's Music and they were like, so what are you looking for? And I'm like, okay, Joey Jordison's in my mind. I'm like, I got two 22 by 18-inch kicks, 3 rack toms. I think it was 10, 12, 13, which was weird to me. I'm like, why didn't they just make it a 14? So it was 10, 12, and 13, and then a 14 and 16-inch floor toms, right? And then I had a couple of crashes, a couple of Chinas, a couple of hi-hats, a couple of rides. I was a fan of mirror imaging.
Symmetry,
you know,
yeah.
Yes, because I'm left-handed. But I
Ah.
grew up playing a right-handed kid. So it was weird for me to, you know, start all of my fills with my left hand and then also start my kicks with my left. Like, I
Yeah.
played right kick, you know, so it was like, you know, ambidextrous most of the time. But when it came for the doubles, I always started with my left. Didn't matter what it was. It was always the left first. So what I would do at first, I set it up like a right-handed kip, and then I was like, I have 2 floor toms. So I put the 10 in the middle, 12 here, and the 13 here, and then I spaced out my floor toms eventually. And Evisceration, you know, played more. We started writing more songs. We, you know, got in touch with like some studio out in Sacramento that the guy didn't know how to mix metal, but you know, he wanted to, you know, produce us, so to speak. So they forked up the money to like buy, you know, a studio time for a demo, right?
Yeah.
Amidst that time, I was lucky enough that my band members, you know, they knew I was a broke young student, you know, who couldn't afford to go to shows, but they were like, yo, there's a show happening at the Pound.
Oh,
You're
shit.
coming with us. You're coming with us. I'm like, what's the Pound? They're like, you're coming with us and you're going to learn what the Pound is.
Yeah.
So that show was, I forget who the first opening band was, but direct support was Uphill Battle and the headliner was Origin.
Yes.
And
I
that
remember
was my introduction to seeing death metal live, because like I heard death metal, I heard Cannibal Corpse, but for some reason my brain didn't have, as Anthony would call it, the downloaded software to digest it properly. So
Yes.
it was a bit, you know, obscure to me. I wasn't down with the vocals at first. The guitars just sounded like a bunch of noise compared to what my band was writing. I understood Paul's drumming though. I was just like, okay, this is some heavy shit. Like, I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was called a blast beat. I didn't know it was called or a grind beat or anything. But as every drummer would, you go to your kit and you try it, right? And I just remember failing at it, just couldn't do it. But I still practiced it. I didn't know French grip. I didn't know German grip. I didn't know anything like that. So it was like mostly wrist, you know, going as fast as I could, and then basketballing, you know, the pedals. Then I was introduced to bands like Burger. Hayden, that's who it was. Hayden and Artificial. Good job. Yes,
Oh yeah, I was looking. I
Oh,
was looking
Joseph
it
that
up for
just
that
typed
too.
that.
Dude,
that's who it was.
Artificium sanguis, dude. We used to
That's
call him
right.
artificial sandwich.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Holy
And it
shit.
looks like Severed Savior played the week after with Artificium Sanguis at the same venue. So
You
That's
was-
crazy.
I'll pull that one up here.
Yeah. So
Artificial
Thing-
sandwich.
No, not a same venue, different venue. El
thing-
Rio.
Do it.
Whoa.
Age
Just
progression.
that would have been the
okay.
Dusty Days, yeah.
Is Quiet Room a band or the venue?
I'm not sure if that's.
No, El Rio's.
Quiet Room's a band.
Okay.
Oh, it's severed. Never mind. No.
Just yelling at us the whole time. So San Francisco's in like lowercase, but everything else is screaming.
Death metal. Dude.
Anyway.
It's got to be all caps.
Yeah.
But that's a hell of a
So-
first show. My first show at the Pound was a year later, and it was Dragon Force. So
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I saw
shit.
that too. Yeah.
mhm.
Damn, you played with Dragon Force?
Yeah. He was in Dragon Force for like 3 years, and like,
He played the trampoline.
Oh, my brain was just stopped that for a second.
First
so you
show, the
saw
Pound
Origin.
episode- oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Origin played, and I don't know who the drummer was at the time. I don't know if it was Longstreth, but I watched that drummer the entire time. Of course, I was watching the rest of the band because the whole performance was blowing me away. Mike's bass playing, doing that finger thing.
Yep.
And then Paul.
His poor girlfriend. Anyways, keep going.
But that's when I saw how blast beats were done. So then I, was like, okay, like now I'm ready. So then I go
Would have
back
been
and I
James,
start.
wouldn't it have been? Would it have been James at that time? 04?
No,
No? When was Echoes?
dude, sick drummers in here. Just Ian. Oh, James King. Oh, I got ruined right there. Okay,
Yeah, you did. Sit down.
James King. Okay.
that was.
But,
yeah. Anyways, I was wrong.
Yeah.
0 to
so
1.
Seeing how it was done, I went back home to the drawing board. Like, okay, then I started digesting death metal as a drummer. And the cool thing about Jordan and Travis was they were always like trying to like inch me in, like, hey, you're a drummer, you know what you're doing. Like, okay, DSI, okay, what's up? Into the Moat, here you go.
Hell
Burnt
yeah.
by the Sun, here you go. Ion Dissonance, here you go.
Mhm.
And it took me a while, Meshuggah, here you go. I know Meshuggah's not
Preach.
death metal, but it's like they were going. And Jordan, his sales pitch was always good because he was like, he was amped up about it. It wasn't like hey, have you heard of Necrophagus? He was just like, have you heard of Necrophagus? Just the attitude, just like, okay, if you're excited about it, buddy, like let's hear it. So hearing Necrophagus for the first time was like, oh, that drummer, holy shit. Like, okay. He's like, do you think you could play this? And I'm like, probably not. Probably not, but it's it's worth a shot. So those guys went and saw shows at the Pound more than I did. They also introduced me to the band Vehemence from
Nice.
Arizona.
Oh fuck yeah! I love fucking.
So-
What's his name? He was in Abigail Williams. I forget his name. Great
Bjorn?
guitar player. Bjorn. Love
Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Yeah. So they somehow, I think it was AOL Messenger, but Jordan was really good at making friends with rock stars somehow, some way. So he became friends with not only Bjorn but Johnny, the other guitar player.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He also knew I forget their bass player's name. Was it Mark?
Johnny was in Deprecated for a while too.
That's right. Yeah. And so I was enamored by, I think his name is Andy, the drummer. I was enamored by his drumming. So then I started practicing Helping the World to See. Like when that album dropped, it was like, yo, this is what we're listening to right now. Helping the World to See by Vehemence. So Jordan was figuring out, some riffs by ear. So every, day before practice, when it was just me and Jordan, we'd jam out some death metal, like to try to, just because we could, even though a couple of members in the band were those guys who said death metal sounds the same. It all sounds the same. We don't care for it,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But Jordan would always be like, yo, this part right here in this song, put a blast beat there. Let's see what happens. So Jordan and Travis Travis Parker, and also another bass player friend of ours, Ryan Gardner. They were heavy on death metal and the underground scene. So they were each in one way or another influencing my taste. Of course, as I said before, Necrophages was hard to digest, but after a couple of months later, I started looking for it. Like, okay, like I want to learn how to play these guitar solos. I want to learn how to, play these drums, even though it seemed almost God impossible because I, didn't have proper training and proper technique. So it was one of those hard to decipher drummers. So when that band kind of went through its phase of not playing shows, not rehearsing, that's when we played a show with Mummification. We had one show in our hometown with Mummification, which was crazy because Austin Spence
Shout out.
Austin Spence from Embryonic Environment. He was a drummer at the time. And for some reason, whoever put that show together thought it was a good idea to put Mummification before us. And I thought that was a bad idea, but it happened.
Yeah.
During their set, Austin, I think it's because he drank 2 rock stars back to back before set, but it was the summertime. There was no ventilation in there. It was fucking ungodly hot in that room. It was a big room, but yeah, people were sweating.
Right.
And it was hard to breathe in that thing. Austin started vomiting over his drum set, and I think his heart stopped.
Whoa.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
His fucking heart stopped, dude. I mean, the paramedics showed up and, they brought him back, obviously. But
Brought him back, dude. What the fuck?
it was a fuck. Yeah, no, his heart stopped. His heart literally stopped. Like, he fucking died.
Whoa.
And they brought him back. I don't remember where I was. I just remember hearing about it, going like, dude, the drummer of Mummification is unresponsive. And I'm like, oh no,
Jesus.
like
what
this
the
is not
fuck,
good, dude. And his dad,
Dude,
Ronnie,
I don't
was
remember Austin
all
talking
around.
about this on his episode. Did he mention that? I can't remember.
Let me go back to episode like 200 episodes ago. Let me see
I
if
don't
can
think
remember.
so. I don't
think
remember
he- I
him
don't-
talking about
I
that.
would have thought
Yeah,
that.
I think I
out.
remember that too. Yeah, I don't
Dude,
think I've heard that.
it was nuts, dude. Like, and me, I was only 16 or 17 at the time. I thought we were gonna
Jesus.
get beaten up and shit, dude. Like, oh fuck, dude.
I
Like, we
know.
just killed their drummer, dude. They're gonna fucking stone us in the parking lot. This is great. But Austin came back. He was totally fine. His dad showed up. His dad drove all the way from wherever he was. It was
Up north.
It was a
Yeah,
fucking
dude, that's
scary
serious
time,
shit, dude.
so. But yeah, so that was fun and scary at the same time. They stayed to watch our set, which was fucking badass. And Austin was like drum side watching me play the whole time. And right when I realized he was over there, I'm like, oh, okay, let's just keep, doing your thing. Just, keep shredding it as best as you can. And Austin and I hung out after the show a little bit. He's like, dude, you're fucking sick. Like, you guys are going to be, something sick if you keep it up. Like, come out with us, come play shows with us. They were very, very nice dudes to us. Adam Weber, lead guitar player at the time. Shout out Adam Weber.
Dude, I can't believe how dedicated Austin is, dude. He fucking dies and then he's like, nah, dude, I'm gonna stick around for the rest of the show,
Yeah. Oh, dude, I thought they were gone.
Death metal. It's
like,
death metal. Like he
Yeah.
died at a metal show. That is death at metal.
Yeah.
You can't get more fucking like literal with it. Yeah.
They've never been close to death metal. I'm just saying.
Oh, dude, like it was probably the first time I was like, I mean, I've been scared for other human beings before, but the fact that it happened like at a show, I'm like ADHD, million things are going through my head. Like, am I gonna keep playing shows after this? Like,
Yeah.
it was just fucking.
You were
brutal,
16 or something? You said 16 years old.
I was 16. It was 16. Yeah, 16, 2017. So yeah, I was still in high school, man. So, but yeah, they kept in touch. We played like some Battle of the Bands festival with them out here in Willits. Embryonic Environment also played, so it's pretty.
I was hoping
pretty
you
sick.
put that one up.
All right, he got one. He's one for like fucking 30, dude. All right, revive, get better.
So my band started falling apart at the time. I think 2 of our members fell for the notion that some band was getting signed, and they're like, "We're gonna ditch you guys and go with this other band." They weren't getting signed. They just told them that, of course. So we're like, okay, now it's just us, and we kind of stopped hanging out and went our separate ways. And somewhere in my senior year in high school, I get a phone call from Adam Weber, and Adam Weber is like, "Hey, man, we don't have a drummer right now." I'm like, "What happened to Austin?" Austin suffered an injury in his wrists. I don't know if it was carpal tunnel or whatever, but he couldn't bash the heads anymore. So they were looking for a drummer, and he's like, "Dude, we've tried out a few drummers, and we we'd like you to come out and try out for us." So I'm like, I think you should try out more drummers, because I don't think I can keep up with you guys. Like, you guys are fast as shit. And he's like, "Well, just think about it, come out and try out." So I packed up my kit. My parents drove me out to the audition because I was a broke high school student who wouldn't get his license. And we set up. So what's kind of crazy is where my apartment is right behind the building where the audition took place. So this building behind us is called JD Red House. It used to be called the Country Mall, and I don't know if it was closed down or anything, but they had this one space rented that they were sharing with another band out here called I think it was Amidst the Blood and Black. I think that was what it was called. So no, the first audition I didn't have my kit. That's right. I used Adam Weber's Gretsch kit. So Adam Weber sets it up, and I learned, I don't know how many songs I learned on the first audition, but I did my damn best, dude. So then he's like, "All right, next audition, go and get your drums." I was like, you want my drums?" He's like, "Yeah, I like that big black drum set that you have, that big pearl." I was like, "Okay." So I bring my drums in, and then we have a jam. I learned a couple more songs, and then they're like, "Dude, we have like 2 more songs, and then you're going to play a show with us." I'm like, "Okay, cool, sick. Are you sure?" They're like, "Yeah." Adam pulls me to the side, and he's just like, "Is this all your drums? Like, all of it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "You're not allowed to take those home." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm 17. I didn't know what he was getting at. And he's like, "If you want to be, you're stuck with us. Like, we need you right now. Like, so we have some shows coming up, and one of them is the Northwest Death Fest in Seattle. And we're already on this bill. We can't cancel this. Like, Deed the Flesh is going to be there. Severed Savior is going to be there." I'm like, okay. I knew who Deeds of Flesh was because in the days where I was jamming with Aaron Pauley, we would share music. Aaron Pauley had a burnt CD of Reduced to Ashes.
Nice.
And that was the first time I heard Mike Hamilton's drumming. And I knew how to play blast beats at that time, but I didn't know there was such force could go so fast
and precise
at the time.
Dude.
Exactly. So the first time I heard that, I'm like, "Dude, can you like bring me a copy?" He was just like, "Dude, I already have like 2 of the copies. Like, I'm spreading this around my friends, dude.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
this is the shit right now. You can have this one." I'm like, "Yeah,
Bless
like
that,
hell yeah,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
dude." So I listened to that album like religiously just to get what was going on. And of course I brought it, home to Jordan. Jordan was like, "Yeah, Deeds of Flesh. I know Deeds of Flesh." I'm like, "Dude, fuck. Like, okay, yeah. Let's do more of that." So I was freaked out that Deeds of Flesh was going to be there. I was like, "Oh shit, we're going to be playing with Deeds of Flesh." He's like, "Well, actually, the show before that is taking place in this spot of Eureka. Deeds of Flesh is going to be there, and so is Decrepit Birth." And I'm like, "Decrepit Birth?" And they're like, "Oh, that's right. You're like still new to death metal." They showed me who Decrepit Birth. They showed me And Time Begins, and it was another thing that I was like, "Wow, dude! Like, what the fuck?" They're like, "You've heard of drummer Tim Young?" I was like, "Yeah, he's the Vital Remains guy." He's like, "Yeah, they had
Are you
him for
bringing up
this
the
album."
Eureka show that we played up there with people suspended and hanging with hooks and stuff?
I don't think I was there for that because
No,
they
he's
wouldn't
talking
let
about a
me in.
festival. He's talking about a
Okay, because
festival.
it's Deeds of Flesh and Eureka with Decrepit, and there's like girls
And
hanging from cliffs
Odious,
and
yeah,
Odious and stuff, and like
Vile.
So yes. Yeah, and Locust Furnace, I believe.
That was an
well,
opener.
that wasn't
local
part of the
opener?
touring group, but it might have been an opener band.
I think so, yeah. So we were scheduled to play that, but the whoever was running it, they were like, "How old is he?" And they're like, "He's 17. Just let him in to play the show." They're like, "No, we can't let him in. Like, this is 21 and up." And so I was very upset because weeks prior to that, that's who I found out who Casey was. Like Mike Williams, he was
As he
I was
leaves,
like,
Yeah.
he just got
Awesome,
up.
right? So I was going through my list of drummers, like, oh, dude, like Tim Young and Mike Williams, the bass player at the time. He was like, do you know who Casey Howard is? And I said, no, who's that? And he goes, he's the drummer of Decrepit Birth. And I'm like, you guys are, and they're like, yeah, no, we know Decrepit Birth. I'm like, let's fucking play a show with them. I gotta meet this fucking drummer. Like, come on. So I was very upset that we didn't play that show because Casey was there and so was Hamilton. Hamilton walks up and he's checking out my kid.
Sorry.
He's like, "Is this yours?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Sick, dude. Like, I'm excited to see you, see you playing." I'm like, "Well, I can't. They're not gonna let me in." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because I'm 17." He goes, "Oh, fuck. Well, that sucks." He's like, "Well, mummification, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You guys are gonna go up with us to Seattle." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll see you there." It's like, right on. So we made our way up there, played that set, and I didn't have time to warm up for that set. I totally forgot. I don't know how I spaced the time that we on, but we went on at 4:30 on like the upper stage. It was at the Phoenix Underground in Seattle.
Okay.
So we played that upper stage. I think wasn't Odious on that bill too?
Well, maybe
The
yes for this
bloodletting
part of the
tour.
story.
Is
I
it
think
bloodletting?
so.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause we did
Phoenix-
we did play
The only
Seattle.
Phoenix I've ever thought of. I mean, Phoenix was like the Petaluma area. That's the only Phoenix I really know.
You're
No,
thinking
not the Phoenix in
Theater.
Petaluma. I'm thinking of the Phoenix Theater in Seattle. The show was the Northwest Death Fest. It was 2006. I think the date it was in May.
Did we run into any festivals on that one?
It was sometime.
Dude.
It was sometime after Necrophagus came to the United States for the first time.
No, so probably not.
No, Odious
Not
did play
Odious,
the
not
Pound
Odious.
show though with Necro when they came.
It was like
through.
with
Yeah,
the
I
initial
found it.
poncho.
Oh, you found
Yeah.
It was
the professor's coming through once again.
okay, it was April 3rd, 2005 at the Phoenix, spelled Fenix.
Oh,
And it had
Phoenix.
Sadist, Cannibal Corpse, Incantation, Avenger of Blood, blah, blah, blah. There's Mummification. I don't see Deeds on this, so
No,
this
this
might
is
not
a
be
different
everybody.
2006. It was 2006.
Oh, this is the 2006. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can
Northwest
find
Death
2006.
Fest. It was Deeds and Severed on the underground stage, and it was Sadist and Obituary on the upstairs stage.
Damn, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, and that was my introduction to
Oh, that was Necrophagus, Nate.
Yeah, Necro got their shit jacked in the city, San Francisco.
That was me
sure.
having to meet Muhammad for the first time when I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, oh, my shit's stolen.
Yeah.
And we're
fuck.
backstage. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. That's good.
Okay, here it is. So Obituary headlined the first day.
Yeah.
With Sadist, In Memoriam, Try Redemption, a bunch of bands, Mummification, there's Scorched Earth, there's Embryonic Devourment. Yeah, and then second day was Deeds of Flesh, Severed Savior, Vulgarizer, Shitstorm, Bung, Ceremonial Castings, Meat Shits, etc., etc.
Meat shits.
Yeah.
Jesus
Bung,
Christ.
dude. I remember
And
Bung.
Bung. Meat shits, I remember too. But the both
Long
both
while ago.
butthole bands, I remember. That's tight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show, all one day, by the way, it wasn't a 2-day thing.
Oh,
Separate
it was like
stages
two
going up.
stages. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
You handle all that, Capital, Joel? Sorry.
A lot of capital, dude.
but yeah, sometime before that, actually, I forgot to recap that I was there at that Necrophagus show as well. So it was Mike Williams' birthday on that day.
Oh, wow.
And so me, Adam, Mikey, some friends of ours, Robert Fosnot of Fostone, who is now the guitar tech for Death Angel.
Oh, nice. They played here
he was-
yesterday.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah.
so we all went down together. We got there kind of late. We got to see, wasn't Cattle on that bill?
Yep.
Was Necrophagus and Cattle? Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're watching
Animosity.
Origin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
Origin.
so-
but-
Yeah, Origin
But
was too.
I
Or wait,
just
no, that was
remember.
a separate gig that Odious did. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
All right, let's
I
not
can't
derail
remember
the story.
exact lineup, but I remember realizing that everybody was there. Like everybody was there to see Necrophagus.
Right.
And I thought it was nuts. That place was on fire that night.
Totally.
So it's Mikey's birthday. Mikey's drinking. You know, it's his birthday at the Pound. Yeah.
Okay.
He's dragging me around to meet everybody. The first person he introduces me to is Murray Fitzpatrick.
I was good. It's like it's
Yeah.
Murray.
Who's that?
Very person. So it's a fucking brave motherfucker too, because he's so drunk. He's saying whatever he wants. He's like, "This is Murray. He plays for some stupid band called Severed Saint." I'm like,
Oh, Murray's
what's
so
up,
like,
dude?"
what? Motherfucker, in his prime? Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
Actually, he was calm. He was just like,
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
just totally.
that's
you know.
usually his demeanor. Then you get to
Oh.
know him, and then he'll choke you out for fun.
So then he proceeds to introduce me to Paul from Origin and introduce me to a couple other people. Then he comes over, introduces me to Casey Howard.
Uh-oh.
He was like, yeah, Mike Williams, Necrophagus. He's like, hey, Sam, this is Casey. Casey, meet Sam. And I'm just like, dude, and time begins. Like, you play that live, huh? And I think Casey was, I think it was tired or something, like, because he was just like, oh yeah, sick, dude. Like, totally.
I mean, that was actually.
He's all chill. Like, I play the fastest stuff that's on earth, but I'm tired, dude.
I want.
Yeah.
Let's not gloss over how good of a Casey Howard impression that was, dude. He's got the cadence for sure.
But yeah, and then it hit my brain. I was just like, okay, I think I just freaked him out because I'm like, all right, walk away. Let's go watch Necrophagus. That night was tight. As soon as Hannes gets on stage, everyone's screaming song names at him. He's just smiling, like, yeah okay, no. And I think Casey, weren't you like stage side?
Yeah, for sure.
Watching him play.
Yeah,
I ended up behind you too, and I just remember looking around, and all the drummers are just watching Hannes play.
totally, dude.
So sometime after that show, I remember security was like in a rush to get everyone out, like, get out, I got another show coming up. Muhammad was pissed.
Oh yeah,
Muhammad's
he's pissed the
still
whole night.
backstage, like, yeah, he's like, what the fuck's up with this guy over here? I have another show coming up. I'm like, I'm gonna go walk over here, like, outside. So I ended up in the back area. Travis Ryan comes out, and that's how I met Travis Ryan. He's like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm Mummification. Yeah, I know that band. I'm like, right on. Yeah, I'm Sam. And he's like, cool, right on, dude. All right, I'm gonna go back in and hang out. I'm like, this is a fucking crazy night. How many people have I met?
Yeah, and it's
So-
cool for him. That's a bonus when you meet somebody who you look up to and they know what you do. You know?
Yeah. He's like, are you in that band? And I'm like, I'm the new drummer. I just took Austin's spot. He's like, right on, dude. Austin's the man. Well, badass, dude. I'm like, this guy's like 16. He's acting like he's 16. It's pretty chill. Like, I thought he was just gonna be by himself, but he was genuinely nice dude. So
Hell yeah!
Totally.
that was sick.
Shout out
Yeah,
Travis.
shout out Travis is actually, he's genuinely a nice dude. He's like,
Oh yeah.
once you just talk to him, it's like he's just a fan of the genre and hanging out still, even to this day. It's like
Yeah.
a trip to see people that have seen every show that you've ever even thought about. They've seen it and they've played it, and he still has that same attitude he had from the beginning. And I mean, at the Pound, I remember there was a time because they would play on every single bill that was going to the Pound for, like, they were there. I remember, like, I think it might have been that show at the Necrophagus thing where there was like a heckler in the crowd that was heckling them, and he was doing
and
that
he
whole,
spat
like,
on Travis.
yeah, he kept
fucking spat on him, and Travis
Yeah.
lost his shit and just started
Yeah.
laying into him. And I was like,
I remember
oh fuck.
it might have been another show then, because there was another show, because I remember where Travis was like doing this crazy face and just kept like launching like I don't know if they were loogies, but just spit directly in this guy's face, and just like fucking sniper accuracy, just going like boom, boom, and just like nailing this guy. Like, and I was standing behind on the backstage of the Pound stage,
Oh,
and he was just like
shit.
nailing, and it just kept nailing this guy in the head. And I was like, how do you do? Like, I was like, oh, like, you know, fuck, this guy really doesn't like this band. This is gonna be like drama right now. But as an older person, I look back, like Travis was nailing that guy in the face with spit from a distance and just going like, bam, 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 and not looking away and then nailing him, looking away and nailing him. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, back those old Pound days were kind of aggressive, especially because
Yeah.
Cattle was like on every show. So a lot of people were kind of like on the kind of fence with Cattle. And then they got fucking our friend, which I can't think of his name right now. Name of the drummer real quick, please. I'm drunk.
Dave McGraw.
Dave McGraw. They got Dave McGraw, and man, they just got turned into like the fucking juggernaut of metal, like death metal. You know, like
I thought
Dave,
that was gonna happen too when I found
Yeah.
out Dave got in the band, because I was listening to Dave when he was playing for Sleep Terror.
Sleep Terror. He played his
Yep.
one of his first
Yeah.
shows at our house, like
Yep.
back in the day. It was Bananas
Dude.
drummer. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Another drummer
You
I
know?
was bananas about, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, I gotta meet this dude. And fucking, because seeing that first live video that appeared on YouTube of him, and I was like, dude, that dude hits fucking hard, dude. Like, holy
Totally.
shit.
Definitely.
So when I found out he was in Cattle and the Harvest Floor came out, I was like, they're gonna fucking, this is new. Like, this is gonna be something special for Cattle. So
Yeah, it just worked perfectly with their style. Because I remember they were going through drummers. They would come to the Pound and have a different drummer like every time, and like they were touring multiple times a year, coming to, and it just seemed like it was a different like, you know, like in and outdoor. They were leaving, coming like drummers and stuff, and they got Dave after we saw him play live in front of our face at the Thunderdome, and I was like, oh, they got that guy. like oh
Yeah.
shit, the fucking world is their oyster, and it has been, and they've been doing great, and everything that they have been doing, they're fucking crushing. So
yeah,
shout out all those guys. Anyways, I'm ranting,
absolutely.
hammered.
So yeah, back to Northwest Death Fest. I didn't hear any recordings of Severed Savior. In fact, I think I was just walking around like just bullshitting because I'm 17, you know, I couldn't like, you know, drink or anything like that. So I was just like, all right, you know, I'm just gonna go check out Seattle. Mike Williams comes and finds me and he's like, what are you doing right now? Severed Savior's playing. I was like, where is it? He's like, it's downstairs. So we're rushing downstairs. And as you're going downstairs, you can start hearing the music get louder and louder. And of course, I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like, holy shit. He's dragging me by my shirt because I'm like starting to walk towards the stage. She's like, no, fuck that. He drags me like behind, like, you know, backstage to where I can see Troy playing. And I just remember hearing Mike Gilbert's guitar playing, like how
Amazing.
fucking amazing and perfect that was. And I'm seeing the crowd move, like just pulsing, and it's packed, like this underground, like medieval tavern looking thing. This shit is packed, and the sound is so good. And him and Murray are just like perfectly synced with each other, just stage presence, playing and all. Dusty's windmilling, blah blah blah. Then I get over by Troy, and I'm seeing Troy play, and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, this is another new favorite. Like, so watch the whole set to kill it. And I'm also studying Gilbert's like setup because I'm hearing like he was using that TC Electronics G major for his like guitar harmonies and like splitting it up between the cabs somehow. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I see him tap dancing on the foot pedal. I'm like, that's how he's activating his harmonies. Like, that's pretty fucking genius. Okay, I fucking love this band. So they end, and then Deeds of Flesh is setting up. Mike Hamilton sets up his kit super quick, and drummers are just hanging out, you know, watching Mike warm up and shit. Mike turns towards me, and he has the sticks to say, and he goes, "You want to try?" I'm like, "Are you fucking for real?" He's like, "Hell yeah, dude! Like, try the kit out." I'm like, "No fucking way." So sat down on his throne, and he had that hydraulic throne just, and I'm like, this is what it feels like to be a fucking taking care of death metal drummer. Okay.
Like you're getting into a spaceship, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember those sonars. Was it the S class? The sonar S classes. Those things sounded so good. And that snare was, the snare was just so perfectly tuned. The toms were perfect. Those triggers were loud, and he had this fat monitor. I'm like, wow, dude, just feeling his kicks. Just when you feel the kick drum go through you for the first time like that at 17 years old, it's I try to describe it to people who haven't played live. I'm like, dude, just do yourself a favor and experience your drum kit mic'd up like that. Like it's pretty fucking sensational.
Awesome.
So at the same time I'm playing his kit for a little bit, I'm like, no one's gonna fucking believe that I'm playing Mike Hamilton's fucking kit right now. So then I was like, okay, I'm off this thing. Like I can't do it no more. It's too fucking perfect. Hand the sticks to somebody else. Other drummers are trying out. I watched Mike Hamilton's whole set playing and watching him doing the swivel foot, and he's just chewing gum the whole time. Like not giving it, just fucking machine. You know?
Yeah, he is, dude.
And
we were blessed to be able to see that for a whole month straight, going on the road with them and just seeing Mike kill it every single night, dude.
It was crazy, dude. Little did I know Mike caught my set that day.
Nice.
And I guess he was standing next to Austin, and Austin tells me the story. He said, dude, Mike was like, aren't you supposed to be up there? He's like, no, that's my replacement. That's the new guy. That's, the new thing that's coming up. So after our set, I'm hauling my drums off stage, right? The next thing I know, I feel this like something grab my arm, and it's Hamilton. He's just like, dude, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 17. And he's like, promise me this. Promise me you're still going to keep playing, because we're not going to be around here forever. And we need young bucks like you to pass the torch down to. Like, just keep playing, dude. Like, go get a job. Keep playing. Like, he was just being the death metal dad, like instantly.
Totally,
to a total stranger, You
just recharged your death metal battery to 100%, like, and it's gonna last for a long time. Like, just one incident like that, dude, makes you excel and push so much more into it.
Yeah,
he's definitely one of the coolest death metal humanas like I've ever like.
Such a great human.
Yeah.
No, you're right with the death metal dad shit, dude. That's exactly what we call him, dude. He's death metal dad, dude.
It was cool. So I hung out with a bit, and he introduced me to Eric. Rest in peace. I remember Eric just being not like, he was quiet. You know what I mean? He wasn't loud. He was just sitting. I was just like, dude, I love your work, like Reduced to Ashes. And he's just like, cool, thanks, man. And for a second, I thought I was like imposing, I went up to Mikey. I was just like, I think I stepped in his bubble. And he goes, no, dude, he just died. Like, just keep going and hanging out with him. So I did, got to know Eric a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed, to be able to interact with Eric, during that time. Totally. At 17 years old. And he hanging out with Mike too was cool, because I started asking him questions like, what do you do to like strengthen your kicks, like, and to strengthen your hands? He's like, dude, I exercise by riding bikes, and just pick up the practice pad, do as much as you can and do yourself
a favor. First Joe Rogan. He's the first Joe Rogan that ever Joe Rogan did. He even broke your fucking, that's how funny that was. But as far as like, no, he was,
because I was so
no, but he was like working on like, fitness and stuff. He was like fitness for drums. He was like,
he's like, get a bike, ride that thing, go on runs, and do yourself a favor, dude. Just don't party too hard. He's like, he's like, well, he didn't mean that. He was just like, try to stay away from alcohol as much as you can. Like, take care of yourself, like, there's no room for error in here, like
I've only probably seen him like drink a beer one time. I think maybe one or two times I've seen Hamilton drink a beer. He's always been
really
maybe more than that.
I've had him. Me and him dusted a bottle of Jack at my house one time, and he was like, "Yeah,
why wasn't there?"
And he like, I like, he was sitting there like, "Yeah, I can hang," and I was like, he was like trying to be like, "Yeah, I'll hang," and he was sitting there and he was just all like this on the couch, like. And I had a video on my flip phone that's gone now, obviously. I mean, going like, "Hey, you still down to hang, dude?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm super down." It was like one of the funniest fucking videos ever. But like, it was back when I was young. He was, obviously like a decade older than me, and I was like trying to be like, "Oh, I can drink hard. Is that cool?" kind of thing, And he's like, yeah, I'll do it with you because I used to a long time ago or something. No, but he's from like he took us on our first tour, like Casey and Anthony. He
Yeah.
basically gave us like all the rules of the road. He's like, don't, and same with Eric. Eric, I still will never forget the one time, Eric and Mike and I were hanging on the merch table, and we got like some like frat dudes about the tour or something like that, in like fucking Texas or something. And there's
Yeah.
like literally 15 people, 10, 15 people there. And just for that, they were like,
It was
yeah,
like a private party.
yeah, it was a private party. And like, and the opening band that was like a, part of the tour, but they were tuning on stage, like on da-na, 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 and Eric goes to me and goes like, that's number one rule. Do not do that on stage. He's like, I remember like they were giving me like pointers, just going like, do not do that. I was like, shit, well, I didn't know that was like my first tour. We've done like 3 show tours up until that event. And then all of a sudden he's like, don't do that, don't do this. And then Mike would be like, all right, don't do that. Like he'd give
Do
us like
this.
tips, like that would stick with me. And every other band, once we started touring later, was like they never did any of the shit that like he was like, don't do that. And I was like, they never did that. Like no one, he was just like, we walked into it like, yeah, we know what we're doing. It's all good. Like we got Mike Hamilton's advice. We're fine. Like Black Dahlia Murder was our next tour. It's like a sold out fucking full tour of Black Dahlia Murder of just like these huge places. And we were just like, all right, stick to the rules of what you're supposed to do on stage and how you're supposed to get in and out and like not fuck with anyone's time. And like, that was kind of like a very strict kind of boot camp and trial by fire. It was a trial by fire. But Mike kind of gave us the tips that kind of we already kind of knew what to do and understood beforehand, but it wasn't like we hadn't practiced it yet until going on those big stages. But Mike that's why I call him Death Metal Dad. He's the Death Metal Dad. He like was like, all right, son. Him and Eric were like, don't do that. Like like see examples on stage, like don't like do this weird thing where you get all quiet for a while and there's no speaking. And don't do that. Don't tune on stage. And there's certain things because you just go on stage and be like, all right, we're supposed to play. We never thought about like the crowd and the environment that they're going to be hearing it. Like we just like, all right, this is the next song, blah blah. But this is the next song, blah blah. But it was like there's more than that. There's way more than that. There's an experience that the crowd has to like experience. So shout out to those guys. That's our fucking forefathers of we're on their label and stuff, and they want us to do well, but they gave us like all the insights of like don't do this, don't do this, get on that time, never be over your time, always be like ready to go at that time, we just play like. And then bands we like later on that would like break those rules and be like fucking like going over 10 minutes on their time and stuff, and we're like, dude. And all the bands we pissed.
There was one night that we were pissed, and we actually were as the young bucks being little shits. We were supposed to cut it short, and we actually were like, "No, we're gonna play another song," and we played another song. And got
that's a rookie. That's a rookie mistake.
Yeah, and we
got
chewed out after. Song. We got chewed out after because that. But you don't realize as the opening band that is a ripple effect all the way into the headliner.
Yeah,
you end late, and then they set up late. Then it compounds.
Guttural Reef is bringing up a good point. I will name a name of a band that did this, but the only reason why I'm going to do it is because that I saw them like a couple years ago, and they were the most professional live performance I've ever seen. Like they had come from like another country, coming on the stage. And we were like, they were kind of scattered because they were like using all of our equipment. Like it was a big pain in the ass for them. And then I saw them again with I think it was one of Black Dahlia's last tours. But I saw them again and was like, oh my god! And I went backstage and was like, what the fuck? You guys are like the sickest live band I've ever seen. It was Flesh God Apocalypse. Like Flesh God Apocalypse in the beginning. They were kind of like a scattered, kind of like, oh, okay, they're like using other people's equipment and instruments and even and stuff like that. But then I saw them like a sold out show in Sacramento, and I was just like, oh, like jaw this big. Like they like put on one of the best performances in death metal I've ever seen. And I was like, all right, well, they went over a bunch on tour with us, and we were all like, "Meh." But like they got it together, and then they started just crushing. Like it was like one of the best performances I've ever seen from death metal. Just like symphony driven and stuff in between songs, and the singer would come out, spotlight, crush it, boom, done on time, like everything. And I was like, all right, well, we got to be a part of that learning process, and I think that's fucking rad. I love that.
Francesco Pali is an
Oh,
insane
dude.
drummer, dude.
He was the drummer at the time, and then he was the
Yeah.
singer guitar player. And I was
Mhm.
like, and he just crushed. And he was like learning drums because like it was Suffocation. It was Suffocation, Decrepit, a couple other bands. I forget what other bands. But he was like learning, he was like practicing the whole time. We'd set up his drums and just practice until he had to go on. Because he was like, fuck, I'm the guitar player. and like learning these drums. And it's like, fuck, I gotta like get these drums
Yeah.
down. And he was like constantly pissed, getting frustrated and stuff like that. And then he found a drummer, and then he went to lead guitar player and lead singer. And it was
Mhm.
like I saw them and I was like, what? I was just
Yeah.
like, when I first saw him, I was just cracking. I was like literally laughing. I'm like, that was the best thing I've ever seen, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was cussing him out, going, what the fuck? Why wasn't like this from the beginning? Like, what the fuck was your problem? I was like completely blown away. But anyways, I'm hammered.
Nate, that's a move, dude. When the sound guy says one more song, you bust out your 20-minute epic. Dude, you probably got Nate's probably got a 20-minute epic in his back pocket somewhere, dude.
That's when sound guys do this, though.
Yeah,
turn you off.
They are God when it comes to the sound. They can turn you off.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but it's
especially
the
guitar
whole
players during sound check, and they're like, turn down your amplifier. All right, more,
I know.
more, and you're like, yeah, I see what you're doing, motherfucker.
Yeah. That move right before the show starts, you go up to the volume, you're like, just turn it up a little bit, like right before they start. You're like, well, let's give it a little boost. It's
Give it
fine.
a little, just a little extra sauce.
Right.
So yeah, I really want to know like how you went from like Cali tech death to solo instrumental progressive death metal guy. So was it
Okay,
Animals as
so-
Leaders? I'm guessing was a big step in that
No,
process.
so
man?
there was a gap. So after playing, after having a few good runs with, Mummification, I started a band out in Lake County. Well, I tried getting back into starting music again because I was just like, fuck, dude, I haven't had a band for a minute. Adam joined Embryonic Devourment. Mike Williams went and did his thing. Alex moved to Washington. So yeah, the Mummification kind of just whatever. So I ran into some old friends again, and I was like, hey, try to get Travis, back in, because Travis is an amazing vocalist. I didn't talk about Travis from before, but Travis could emulate Glenn Benton, Corpse Grinder, like whoever he wanted to. Like he is amazing, and I think he needs to get back, pick the mic up, and like start doing it again, because he could have been something real special if he would have kept on doing it. But so I hit up I can't remember who else I hit up, but a bass player by the name of Ryan Gardner, who's fantastic. It was like another like Jeff Hugel, right? Like that kind of bass player. So we start writing some songs, and it's because I was a guitar player at the time, learning. I had a whole bunch of metal shoved down my throat from the Mummification days, such as Spawn of Possession, Spastic Ink, Blotted Science, Sleep Terror. And also during those days, I was introduced to Anomalous in 2006. So Anomalous became my favorite band, right? So during that time, they were like, we have this other drummer out here. He's actually really fucking good, and he's still in high school. He's a young buck. His name is Mike Telez. And I was like, all right, let's go hit him up. This kid at 16 years old could play Dechristianized by Vital Remains. Like, hit
Mhm.
for hit, note for note, and he had those trick pedals going on. He didn't roll with Axis for some reason. He had trick pedals. So I'm like, let's mess with these guys. So we started a band called One for Every Victim. And we started, we had a recording, we played some shows, we played the boardwalk in Orangevale, and we started getting some momentum going. But then, creative differences happened, and I wanted to do one thing, they wanted to do another, and rest is history, right? So during eventually, after starting this band and starting that band and that band and it not working out, I eventually, or you know what? I'm forgetting a story. My band, One for Every Victim, played a show with Soul Asunder, and I'm pretty sure the person who booked that show was my buddy Jordan, because he knew Chaz pretty well, and I think he showed my band to Chaz, and Chaz was like, "Let's bring them out to Monterey and play a show."
Hey, real
That
quick,
is where
just
I'm.
to interrupt, dude. Joseph, can you turn your mic down just a little bit, dude? It's causing like a little feedback.
Yeah.
Just if you turn it down just a tad. Yeah, dude. Sorry, dude. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, not a problem. I'm sorry, ADHD. I have so much detail to my
No, it's all
stories.
good, dude. No, I love it.
We want it all, dude.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
We're just
you
getting
got it.
No worries at all.
So we drive out to Monterey. Thankfully, we almost didn't make it to that show because we didn't have a way to transport our equipment, I think. And this kind of like metal band mom of Lake County, that's what I'm going to call her, the metal band mom. Her name is Shell.
Oh.
Shell, we love you. Thank you so much for everything that you did for us that night. She drove us out with her truck, all of our equipment out to Monterey to play the show with Solar Thunder. It was around that time I'm warming up, just before we're about to go on. It's a Sunday night, there wasn't too many people there. It was fine. I didn't care. I was just stoked that I was playing with Solar Thunder because I was introduced to Solar Thunder when I was 14. So I was stoked. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like we're playing with hate fueled anger. Like this is gonna be fucking sick. So Chaz comes up and I'm warming up and I'm, chatting it up with Chaz. Nate comes up and he's wearing an Anomalous Cognitive Dissonance, like one of the first prints, right?
Yeah.
And I look at him and I said, dude, don't get drunk and fall asleep around me. I'm gonna steal that t-shirt from you. like that's my favorite band right there. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that's me. I'm Nate. I was like, oh God. So we're not just playing in front of Solus Under, fucking the guitar player from Anomalous is here. This is fucking great. Okay. So I'm like going back to my band, like, guys, like we have to be on our shit. Like these are true heavy hitters here. It's because me and Ryan we were very familiar with Solus Under. And I told Ryan, I was like, dude, Anomalous is here. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, that's fucking Nate from Anomalous. He's like, okay. I'm like, yeah, so we have to crush this shit because I want to keep playing with these guys. We played our set, load our shit out. Nate's coming up like, dude, you guys are fucking sick. Your amp sounds fucking fat. Like, holy shit, dude, fucking give me your demo, dude, so I can, give it to some, some folks that I know who have ties with, this label and that label. I'm like, God, that'd be fucking great. The next day, Nate hits me up and he says, hey man, I know you're busy with your band, but would you want to try out for Ontogeny? I was like, Ontogeny, what's that? He's like, it's my side project. It's another project I have. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. My singer is gonna fucking love this. Like, but I don't care. This is, I listen to Ontogeny, go to the MySpace, listen to those tracks, the Pillars of Perversion tracks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking in. I would absolutely. I didn't have a 7-string at the time, so we went and bought a 7-string, the Ibanez RG. Like when the models were actually still kind of good.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
They're sick. I recommend those to any new 7-string player. So
that's a classic, right? Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why is because the other affordable 7-strings, like the Schecters, like that C-shaped neck is just, when they're jumping that extra string, it's like so much to grip on. So that thinner neck profile on those Ibanez 7-strings, Gives
Was
them a little
that
bit.
that kind of the first one released or something? Like it was, or like it was popular, like Corn or something like those days or whatever. Or
That was when I was
like
still in middle school, so I don't know.
yeah, when
yeah,
was the first
I remember
Sam-
you had the white 7-string, Casey,
which one?
or maybe it wasn't white, but I remember you had a 7-string at your apartment.
Yeah, it
or
wasn't an
the
Ibanez.
furniture dome.
Oh,
It wasn't
Joel had.
Ibanez.
Oh, Joel had a black one that was his.
Ah,
The classic.
what's funny though, Sam, I now play a Schecter instead of an Ibanez 7. For what it's worth, I don't.
How
The
does
neck
that
doesn't
feel?
bother me. So
Oh, okay.
this
Well,
thing right
to each
here,
their
I
own.
don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't bother me too much. So
Was that the Hellraiser?
yeah, I haven't cut the strings yet. It's a Damien Elite.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
Works
Schecter,
for
they
me.
make good guitars. I just go like, dude, the neck profile is just so damn thick. That C shape. It's insane. To each their own, though. So, yeah. So Nate, he's like, "Where do you live?" I was like, "I live in Clear Lake. You know, I know you're in San Francisco." He's like, "Dude, I have family out on Cobb. Like, Clear Lake's not too far. I'll just go
So do
visit
I,
family
yeah.
on Cobb, and you know, I'll just come down and jam with you." I was like where? He's like, "I mean, your house." And I'm like, fuck yeah, okay, sure. So Nate drives all the way out with his guitar and you know, little jam amp. Next thing I know, I'm like, dude, the guitar player from Anomalous is like right here in my bedroom. This is insane. So not only does he teach me like a few ontogeny riffs, but he teaches me the intro to Revelations. Like I was like, dude, teach me an Anomalous riff. He's like, I know Revelations. I'm like, you know that intro? He's like, yeah, it goes like this. So he taught me that thing step by step, and that became like my new warm up.
Oh yeah.
I think I drove my old band members nuts. They're like, dude, can you stop playing that? I'm like, no, it's like the sickest thing I know right now. Like, you have no idea. So eventually he invites me to his home in San Francisco and was like, yeah, you know, come jam with me and Keith, and you know, let's teach you some songs, and you know, let's see if you fit. So my buddy Robbo drives me up there, and we stay at Nate's house for I don't know, a couple of days, you know, and I can't remember how many songs I learned, but I wanted that spot so bad. Like I think I learned 3 or 4 songs like in a day. I was like, keep feeding me, like keep giving me as much as you can. And one of the things I realized during those auditions and practices is Nate's riffs can be incredibly difficult at times. Like one of the riffs, so he was recording Discord and Disillusion at the time. And one of the riffs on, I think it's the song Discord Disillusion, it's like this crazy arpeggiator riff, like and he, like Steve Morse, he alternate picks those arpeggios. And me listening, like going back home and listening to it, I thought he was sweeping them, but he pointed it out in one rehearsal. This is one of those things that like really kept me on my toes about when like band tightness is concerned. He said, "Hey man, you know, we really want things to sound like really tight and cohesive. Like you're nailing it on the fretboard, but I need this to be as you know, as tight as possible. So like try playing it like this." I'm like, dude, I can't play it like that. Like that's insane. You know, like how are you angling the pick like slanting like to nail those arpeggios, because it's between 3 different strings, right? But he was just doing it, and I'm like, okay, like this is something new. The best part about those auditions as a fan of Anomalous was, you know, we would take breaks and he'd sit me down and was like, "Would you like to hear some new Anomalous?" And this was when they were recording Omnivalent. So this is like 2009, 2010, I think, somewhere around there. And the first song he plays me, there was no vocals tracked at the time, but the first song he plays me was the Omnivalent title track itself. And I just remember sitting there just in silence. Like I couldn't imagine on the fretboard and on the kit like what was being played,
Right.
because it's a band that it's like, okay, so at the time you had bands like, excuse me, the Faceless, and you had Job for a Cowboy, and you had Decrepit Birth, and you had Severed Savior, right? You were able to see, those bands live and doing what they could do on the fretboard. To try to imagine what is going on the fretboard on that fucking beast of a 10-minute song I'm like, dude, holy shit. And I'm looking at my buddy Robbo, who drove me back to this day, and he's like, dude, you got to go back home to your band and you need to tell them to step it up, because that shit was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like, goddamn, dude. I was like, you want to play that again? And he's just like, it was 10 minutes. Let's show you another song. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, dude, I want to hear that again. Like that was the sickest fucking song I've ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah.
It's the techest tech death from California, dude.
Yeah.
Call them the techest tech death band from California, in my opinion.
Techest band to ever tech.
And just the fact that you're mentioning Revelations, the song, and I mean, to us, that's, I know that the re-recorded version just dropped, so, but I think, for posterity's sake, it's worth mentioning that just came out right before this episode was filmed. So I heard that and I was like, know exactly what you're talking about. Very sick. And I'll add that I knew Omnivalent, but didn't really go back to Cognitive Dissonance. So now that it's coming out again, it's kind of like new Anomalous to me. It's almost like I'm kind of glad I didn't know it, the first one, because I get to experience it as a first time releaser, like first time listeners in some ways.
Totally. That's
so
exciting.
I'm like prime audience for it. And it still sounds like ahead of 2023. Like it still sounds like it's pushing. And the fact that it came out 17 years back or whatever is am I right on that? But yeah, just incredible. Like so fucking forward. And Max is just one of my favorites.
Yeah, dude.
Max. Yeah.
Nate and Max, what a fucking combo.
Max is up in the chat. What up, dude?
Hell yeah, dude. There you are, dude.
During those auditions too, the Ontogeny auditions, I was hoping Max would like just randomly show up so I can start picking his brain too. Like Tim was there and I met Tim and I'd like talk to him a little bit, but he was like I think he was into doing his own thing at the time. And I was like, all right, I don't want to bother this guy too much. But I had a lot of questions about Anomalous to Nate. And after learning Nate's songs, I think it was at a point in time where I was like, he's like, it would be really cool if you wrote some riffs for Ontogeny. And I'm like, I'm a student right now, dude. It's like I'm learning shit. And it was cool because like you can hear like once you learn Nate's riffs, you eventually start hearing it like where Nate's riffs are and like the Anomalous like song structure. You start noticing the different voices of the different guitar players and the different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Nate showed me a lot of cool chops that helped my songwriting still to this day. Like there's picking techniques and string jumping techniques that I learned from Ontogeny that I still use in my writing like to this day. So, shout out to Nate who, was like, dude, come over. Like, let's get you in this band. So unfortunately that didn't work out because of the distance. I didn't have a driver's license and I respectfully bowed out because I didn't want to hold on to, because Nate wanted to play shows, right? He wanted to get Ontogeny, rolling, and I didn't want to be that guy for the band to wait for. So I was like, hey man, I'm really sorry, but I gotta, I don't want to hold your band back. Like this band is too sick to say, hey, wait for me, but I was like, no, just get this shit out there. The people, the death metal community needs to hear this and see it live. Like, I was a fan of Ontogeny too. So respectfully bowed out of that. Tried to start another project. And, due to it not really working out, that's when I decided to hit the solo road. And it took a long while to get that started because I was a very raging alcoholic for a long time. Like it took for me, like I had to hit rock bottom to finally realize like what was important in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I will admit that the couple of projects that started and didn't work out were probably my fault. I have no problem, admitting that. It is what it is, and
Right.
it happens.
Totally.
So
And it's also in your past too. It's not you today. So
right. So so I went solo. I had a MacBook Pro. So my wife now, when we met, she helped me fix it. She was like, "Hey, like, let's fix your laptop." She bought me my first 8-string. In fact, so it was like her, like, "Yeah, I know you're stuck with me," kind of like deal. She was like, "Here you go, like, here's your first 8-string," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, we're doing this." So she not only she helped me, fix the laptop and get me the 8-string, but she was very supportive of me getting started. She was the one who said, like, "Hey, you need to fix your shit.
yeah,
You need to start writing music again. You need to get out there and you need to get back with your friends, because it sounds like what's missing in your life is your friends who play music. So
Mhm.
release some music, get back out there, get back on your feet."
So did that keep?
So
Was that kind of your way of getting away from the alcohol too? Is just focusing on creating music, or were you still drinking during that?
no, I was kind of still drinking during that, and there was a time where she was just like, "All right, so check it out. You're gonna quit drinking, or I'm gonna leave you. Like, this really needs to stop." And so I can't be with somebody who's So I was like, "All right." So I sobered up, started writing music, started releasing some tunes, and of course, the first person I sent some tunes to is Nate Venerucci, because it was like the guitar player I resonated with, like, the most at the time. So I was like, "Dude, check this out. I got this going on." He's like, "This is fucking sick. Put it out there." So I put
Mhm.
1 song out, 2 song out, 3 song out. And eventually, some of my old bandmates, from Lake County, they were like, "Hey, dude, like, this shit's fucking dope."
Yeah,
My old guitar player from One for Every Victim, he was going to Musicians Institute at the time. And I went over to his house, after not seeing him for a minute, and he was telling me about, native instruments and Contact and, using software instruments and stuff like that. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really getting into, like, I kind of want to dabble in like orchestral sounds." I was like, guitars, bass, and drums, that's great. It's good instrumental and stuff like that. I was like, but I don't know, like, it just sounds empty. Like, it sounds like it needs like something more. And he's like, "Well, you can use synthesizers." I was like, "Well, who isn't using synthesizers? Like, I need something more." And he's like, "Okay, so what are you looking at?" I was like, "I'm looking at this company from London called Spitfire Audio." And he's like, "What do they do?" I'm like, "So you know how TuneTrack has Superior Drummer and all that stuff, where you can have complete control of your mic signals, your mix, you can add your own EQ, your own compression, and all that." It's like, yeah. I was like, That's what Spitfire Audio does with orchestras. And they don't just record these orchestras anywhere. They record them at London, or at Lyndhurst Hall at Air Studios in London, which is where all film scores are recorded.
wow,
So they have like 20 microphones like positioned. They have one behind the conductor. They have the outriggers that capture the wide stereo sound. They have ambience mics that are positioned all over this church hall that is just acoustically treated. It's like the best hall to record orchestras aside from Abbey Road and like Sony Studios in Los Angeles.
trip.
So you can literally like, if you are listening to this plugin in a 7.1 like Dolby Atmos setting, you can hear the reverb surrounding you, like in the hall.
Whoa.
So I got interested in that, and I'm like, I think I can make something different and have my own voice as a solo, death metal guy, being inspired by people like Luke Yeager of Sleep Terror and Whitaker of Insidious Decrepancy. I'm like, if these guys can do it with a drum machine, like, shit, I'm a fucking drummer. If I get my hands on a drum machine, I'll program that shit to sound like a fucking real drummer.
Yeah.
So through trial and error, eventually So yeah, I eventually got an income tax together, and I bought my first Spitfire audio library, the Albion One Orchestra. And I didn't have quite so much control, but it had enough to make SL1 happen. So I started fucking around with it, like seeing what I can do out of it. And of course, for some reason, as a guitar player, you start messing with the strings. So yeah, the Spitfire audio, I sent something to Nate and I was like, what do you think about this? And he's like, yeah, dude, I think you got something real special here. And I'm like, okay, cool. So somewhere around that time, my wife and we had our first child, our only child too. We had our daughter, and around 8 months, within an 8-month span of time, we realized something was physically wrong with her. And she has a rare form of kidney disorder. It's called APRT. But during her infancy, she was, expelling, blood crystals in her diapers through her urine, and kept taking her in the hospital over and over again to try to find out what was wrong with her. And eventually they did an ultrasound and they found both her kidneys were filled with kidney stones. And the nurse who found them, she told us that it was a life and death situation. So I was at work, doing tree work out in Galala. It was like 2 hours away from my home. I didn't know what was going on. A fire had started out in this place, Redwood Valley, close to our home, and it burnt the fiber optics. So there was no cell service. So my wife couldn't get a hold of me to tell me what was going on.
Fuck.
She didn't have the heart to fly in the helicopter to UCSF. So she had to wait for me to get home. I didn't get home until like 6:00. And everybody was freaking out about the fire. They're like, dude, we have ranches out here. Some of us have horses. Some of us, our mothers live out here. Like, we need to stop work and go home and make sure we don't need to evacuate, So,
right.
And the 101 was shut down going south. So when I got home and realized, my wife informed me what was happening with our child, she was like, we need to take her to UCSF to get the help that she needs. So we loaded our shit up. I had to take Highway 20 towards the coast to Highway 1 from Fort Bragg all the way to the 128 to get around where they had shut down the grade, to get back onto the 101 to get all the way to UCSF Mission Bay. And I think we got there at like 1:30 in the morning. I didn't sleep for 72 hours because I was, scared shitless that I was going to lose my child, right?
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
and the team of specialists who they had there, not only were they amazing, but they were like, yo, dad, you need to go to sleep. Like, go to sleep. And I was like, if someone told you that what was happening was your child was a matter of life and death, would you be able to sleep? They said, who said that? I said, the nurse back at Adventist Health in Willits told us that. And they said, your daughter's going to be fine. That nurse is a fucking idiot.
Whoa.
I was like, okay. They're like, will you please go to sleep? I was like, my daughter's going to live. They're like, yeah, your daughter's going to be just fine. Go to sleep.
Oh man.
Give me a pillow right now, dude.
Yeah. No. So
Whoa,
it was
dude, that's
rough.
intense, bro. I mean, as a dad, I was on the edge of my seat during that whole story.
Yeah. So I went home once we were released to go home.
So wait, real quick, is it still a situation for her now, or is it something that she
her
has to take
condition is
medication
stable.
for? Yeah.
No, the medication that they have offered to her, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here right now, dude. But so she sees a nephrologist, she sees a urologist. The nephrologist, he wanted to start her on this medication called allopurinol. And allopurinol is something that late teens and adults take to treat their like kidney stone problem, right? For lack of better phrasing. The side effects and allergic reactions were beyond horrendous. and would have left my daughter worse off than what she already, had. And at that time she had went through 2 surgeries. The first surgery, they had to go because she couldn't pass her stones. She was too small. They had to install a stent in her ureter, which is the area which connects the kidney to the bladder. They had to go in through her urethra. The second procedure was the lithotripsy, I think is what it's called, where they go in with a scope that has a laser on it through her urethra, through her bladder, into the ureter, and they had to laser out the kidney stones so that she was able to pass them. So to
Poor
try to
girl.
avoid that and I hope any parent never has to experience having to hold their child down while she is being fed anesthesia and she doesn't know what's going on, so she's screaming
Right.
until she
Mhm.
eventually passes out. And the doctors, they knew I was pissed. I'm like, why didn't you? Because the first time they put her under, they put like this big screen in front of her and they're like, what is she like? I was like, she likes Trolls. They put on Trolls and she just watched Trolls and fell asleep.
Perfect.
The second procedure, they didn't fucking do that. And they didn't give it an even mix of anesthesia and oxygen. They just gave her pure anesthesia. And I'm like, where's the fucking screen? Like, where's the comfort?
Right.
And they're like, no, we just need to, I'm like, no, like, get the fucking screen. Like, it's right there. I'm looking right at it. Like, make her comfortable. And they didn't do that. So,
Fuck.
yeah, I had to hold my daughter still and listen to her scream until she fell asleep. And it was like I was watching my daughter die. So I know that's not what was happening, but that's what my ADHD was doing to my brain. So
Right.
I stormed out of that fucking room, dude. Like, I didn't wait for the doors to open up automatically. And when doctor followed me out, put his hand on me and I slammed his arm away. And I was like, I hope you never, ever have a kid and have to fucking experience what I just experienced right there. Do not fucking touch me. Ever.
Yeah.
So that was like it was a harsh time.
Mhm.
So back to the story of the nephrologist. She wanted to start her on allopurinol. So I started asking questions. I said, okay, at the time my daughter was 3. She's now 6. I asked her, I said, okay, I understand that you went through X amount of years to go through medical school and acquire the title of PhD. I also understand that you did more training to acquire the title nephrologist. With that being said, in your professional career, have you seen any successful tests of this medication on somebody her age? And she said, I'm unaware of that. And I said, so you just want to guinea pig my child? Because the thing about this medicine is once she starts taking it, she has to take it for the rest of her life. She can't stop.
Hmm.
And I had a serious issue with that. I'm like, these side effects and allergic reactions, we're talking about stomach bleeding. We're talking about, blood in the diarrhea. We're talking, things that
Right.
are just fucking horrendous, as I said before. So I'm like,
Right.
you just want to guinea pig my child? And she said, no, because it's been successfully tested. I'm like, on adults and teenagers, not somebody her age. So you're just guinea pigging my child just to like try to that's like not even a solution. That's not even a Band-Aid. Like, what are you doing? And she
So
said,
what's the alternative of not having that medication now?
diet. We have to make sure that she drinks plenty of water, eats very healthy. We have to keep her away from things like sweet potatoes, things that, because what her condition is she has an enzyme deficiency she's missing the enzyme that breaks down her kidney stones.
Mm.
So, but aside from all of that, she's a tough, bright little girl. Like,
Oh, yeah.
she doesn't let any of it bother her. Like, when she passes a stone, it sounds like she just makes defecating grunt noise. She's like, "Ugh," and that's about it. And then
Right.
when when she passed her first stone, dude, she was maybe like a year and a half, and it was like the size of a lentil bean. And I'm looking at her like, there's no blood, I'm like, you just, like, kidney stones cripple people,
Whoa.
So,
Yeah.
but she's just tough about it, and it just doesn't phase her. She, the only thing that she does, she's just like, oh, I got a bellyache, like, I don't feel so good. and then she'll pass a stone and she'll be totally fine. But
Jesus Christ.
she hasn't passed a stone like okay, she's passed like little sediment stones here and there, but nothing that is like crippled her like it did in the past. So she's going to school, she's bright, she's all smiles,
That's
she's
awesome, dude.
creative, she's into music, she's a dancer, she's a singer, and she's an artist. She's into visual art, she's always making things, she's very fit. She has ideas too, like
I mean,
she
coming from your bloodline, it sounded like all your siblings were creative too, so it makes sense that she would catch that vibe.
yeah, well, I try to surround her with art, and she also likes death metal. Like it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, I
it's
remember a past video I had came across where she was rocking out to some Severed Savior in the living room.
dude,
You
and
had posted a video about it.
so I put something on, and you know how YouTube algorithms work. Like you'll put something new on, and then like it'll oh, you watched a Severed Savior video, so here we're just gonna put this on autoplay, like right next to it. And I can't remember if it was like Sesame Street or Super Simple or whatever.
Another
but
double S, Sesame Street and the Severed Savior.
right. So I put that thing on, and I'm making like a snack or something. Like in the my wife is out doing grocery shopping, and I'm making something for her to eat. And next thing I know, I hear a live video come on, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, so I'm like trying to finish things, and I'm like, okay, she's not going daddy or anything. Like in fact, she's quiet. So then I run in there, I'm like, are you okay? And she's rocking out, and I'm like,
That's awesome, dude.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like this is for real right now. Like she was doing like arts and crafts and shit, and then she just stopped, and I'm like, holy fuck. I was like, you like this? She's like, I like his growl. And I'm like,
Wow, dude, that's
oh
cool. I didn't
wow.
know.
I was like, oh shit. So I was like, dude, she heard Trappanese growl and was like just hooked. Like
That's sick,
I'm
dude.
like,
I'm
this is
flattered.
insane. So yeah, like so she was, feed me more, like because she likes my music, so like I'll be like rehearsing my stuff, and she's in the background windmilling like Corpse Grinder, and I'm like, this is fucking rad.
Sesame
Like this is
Savior, dude. Shout out to the professor for
Sesame
that one, dude.
Savior.
Or Casey, whoever threw that out.
That was me.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
This is a feel good. This is all coming around. This is very wholesome. This
Totally,
your
dude.
family
And
rules,
it's
dude.
tight. So going back to like when we discovered what was happening, I came home and I wrote the song Thanophobia. And that's
yeah,
a song
what is the
that
definition of that?
so I was writing when I wrote the song, before I named it Thanophobia, I was writing about that whole experience, finding out what was happening to my kid, being told she might die, she might live, right?
Mhm.
And just feeling the roller coaster of emotions of anger and grief and angst and fear. So I was like, okay, searching Google, like, is there a word for the meaning, the fear of your loved one dying? And that word came up, and it said it had two meanings. So thanophobia, according to Google, because we should believe Google, according to Google, there's two meanings. The first one is the fear of dying. The second meaning is the fear of your loved ones dying.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm gonna roll with the second one.
Yeah.
So that's what that song expresses, is just that story of,
Wow, dude. That opens that
yeah.
song up so much more for me now, dude. I'm gonna
I
have
was
I've been already, and like
pissed.
I said, I listened to it a few times this week, and I'd heard it in the past too, and that now will give it another fresh listen for me, and now I'll have that as the story behind that, because instrumental music, it does. Your music definitely evokes emotions while you're listening to it, but to know like the true origin of an instrumental song, and it actually have a story behind it that makes it even better for me now, dude. I kind of want to know what every one of your songs is about now.
Okay, well, the other songs in there were just
I mean, if you were
whatever.
if you weren't wrapped up with that, you can finish off what you were saying right there. But I'm just saying, like, that makes me more curious about your music. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I forget ADHD, man. I forgot where I was. I know I was
You're
talking
talking
about
about
my
you're
kid.
talking about the fear
and-
of the losing a loved one, and that's what
Yeah.
influenced that song,
So
and that's why you
once I
named it
wrote
that.
that, and it came out like it just poured out. You know what I mean? I didn't have to think about anything. I was just like, okay, this first riff. You know, in fact, the first riff that I wrote was the insane tapping riff with the blast beats. Like then I wrote like the intro, and then the song just came out and came out and came out. Like, okay, this is next. This is next. This is next. It wasn't even a plan. It was. I am pissed because I was scared, and it,
Yeah,
you know, the fact of having a nurse be wrong about that it was a life or death situation.
right.
You know,
I mean,
it
there was a mistake, and not to bring it on to myself, but I was just going to say real quick with our wife's first pregnancy, there was a thing that happened that in the beginning they said, oh, 95% chance it's going to fix itself, and then a while later down the road we talked to somebody and they said, oh no, they had the numbers switched. It's actually only 5% chance that it was going to fix itself. So we had gone this whole time off of that first nurse's thing too. So it's like you got to get your second opinions really, because it seems kind of more frequent that could happen. You just got to make sure that everybody's giving you the correct information, dude.
Yeah, and the premium that UCSF charges, like, so I was making pretty good decent money at the time, doing power line clearance tree trimming for a company contractors for PG&E. So I had pretty good health insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield, and my copay just for that nephrologist specialist for 1 hour of a visit was $700 fucking dollars, dude.
Wow.
So I eventually told her, I was like, you know what, dude, like when we come here, we are living the definition of insanity. Like we are doing the same things over and over again, expecting shit to change, and it's fucking bullshit. So until you have some kind of breakthrough, like, because as far as they were concerned, my daughter's condition, it's on the low side of the spectrum, but they don't know why it's happening. Apparently they've never seen it before. So
Wow.
she's kind of like patient zero, like on that thing.
Trip.
So I'm like, until you have something, instead of just going out on a limb and saying, we're going to try this and we're going to try that, regardless of, side effects and allergic reactions, until you have something, some kind of true solution, don't fucking call me.
Yeah.
Like,
So when you mentioned the diet, what are some other foods besides sweet potato that would increase your chances of getting kidney stones?
1 second, honey. Aside from sweet potatoes, what else do we keep her off of? Okay, so it's kind of a trial by fire kind of thing. It was, the main thing they said was just to keep pushing her water, but
Yeah, I would think that
my
fluids
wife
would be the-
discovered that sweet potatoes can cause kidney stones or something like that. Like, but she can eat anything else, but it's weird. Like we sometimes wonder, whenever she passes stones, like, okay, what did we feed her? Like, or is she not drinking enough water? So it's like which one was it kind of thing, and it can make everything really obscure. So
right. Yeah, I would think it would mainly be in water intake too, but I'm not a fucking doctor.
Yeah, no, they told us to just keep pushing water. So
Well, yeah, dude.
But
The fact that she's a trooper and she's, expressing herself just like any other 6-year-old little girl would, that's fucking rad,
Yeah, and that was the thing I, prayed for most was like just, please just have a happy, normal childhood, aside
Mm-hmm.
from what's happening to you, like and having to, put that mask on, like keep smiling at your child. It's one thing when something is happening to, your siblings or your parents. It's another thing if something's happening to your child.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
And it's when it's out of your hands, because you're a dad, you take pride, like whatever it is that's wrong for you, I will fix it, during this
I
time,
was, I'll always be your hero type feeling.
Yeah. And then, you know, life throws a curveball at you, like try to fix this.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
can be rough.
It's definitely humbling. Yeah, for sure, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
Well,
to your question, other song names, they kind of represent the song itself. Like, so the second song, Amorphous. Amorphous means like, not having an arrangement or formula. That's kind of what that song was. Like it was just like a bunch of riffs thrown together without an arrangement or formula. Like, whatever, don't care. Here's something cool. Something Brief was a short song that was brief. It was just something for you to chew on that was brief.
wait, what'd you say? What Neosi? What is Neosi?
Oh, it's actually it's an acronym for neoclassical.
Nice.
It's neo and CL, neoclassical, and I didn't have a song title for it, so I was just like,
Oh, I thought
whatever,
even with glasses, I
Yeah.
read it wrong. I thought it was an I at the
Classic.
end. I was like, sounds like a name of somebody.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
And
no,
then
that's cool. I never
SEL's
heard that
just.
before.
I was guessing SEL's just your initials.
That's my daughter's initials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, SEL is Scarlett Emery Lanyon, and
Nice.
she I wrote that song to express the joy I get from being her father. Like my time with my child is the most like put it this way. I should be working on new music, right?
Right.
But instead of working on new music, I'm playing with my child. I'm playing with my kid. Like I'm so selfish with my time with my child. Like
Right now, too, especially, it's very important, dude.
oh yeah, because
At this age.
there's gonna come a day where she's not gonna want to hang out with me anymore,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
she's gonna want to go off and be her own human. And
Right.
so
I'm feeling it with my 12-year-old boy. I mean, he's still down to kick it, but he's now wanting to, I'm gonna go to my friend's house now. He's got a cell phone now, so he's like,
yeah.
call me if you need me. And I'm like, dude, he's out, bro. He's gone. It's like official now. It's crazy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay at my buddy's house. All right. Well, he
Yeah.
doesn't. He asks, obviously, but I'm just saying we're chill with it, But
Even so, and you
yeah.
try to look for things to like try to bond with him with, and you're just and there's like, I appreciate the effort, but I'm still gonna go over here,
Let's just say we'll bond on a Christmas present. We'll be playing some video games soon.
Yeah, there you go.
Got that
Yeah.
PS5 coming.
There you
So
go.
Yeah.
so Sam, you said you were releasing singles before the EP. Is there a place to hear those songs?
No, I took him down.
You took them all down?
I took him down. Okay. I have the MP3s. So or the WAV files. I still have all those. They're on a hard drive. I know exactly where they're at. My older brother, so I took them down because they didn't have any momentum, and I was just having that the fear of like, I don't know, like my ADHD kicked in and I was like, these songs have no momentum. It means no one likes them. Maybe they're not good enough. Fuck it. Take them down, start all over again. Like start from fresh. Maybe you rush too fast to get music out there. So it's not good enough. So I have them, and I think of either A, releasing them again, or B, recreating and re-recording them so that I could do them maybe a bit more justice.
Mm-hmm.
It was only like, five or six songs, so you're not missing out on anything. But yeah, I just need to get around to it, like when my daughter's asleep, maybe I'll sit down at the desk and, do something. But I'm also supposed to be writing for Anomalous right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good
Yeah.
segue to get into how you got hooked up with Anomalous, because that's what you guys had done for Anomalous, was recreate their first EP.
Yeah. So, the pandemic took place, and I think it was June or July of 2022 when my family first caught COVID. Like, it hit us hard, dude. Was taking time
You
off.
dodged it for that long?
Yeah,
2022, damn.
we did pretty good. Well, so when it first happened, I sheltered in place because UCSF told us if your daughter contracts this virus, she doesn't stand a chance. Like,
Right.
shelter in place and protect your kids. So I contacted the president of my company, and thankfully he was flexible. He was just like, shelter in place, dude. You'll still have your job. Like, go
Sick.
ahead, protect your kid. So I was very thankful for that.
Yeah.
But then funds started running out, and 6 months later, I went right back to work. We finally let our guard down for like 4th of July, right? We were like, okay, she's not getting any younger. Let's go out to the parade. Let's bring her to the fair. Nobody's wearing masks anymore. Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, it's fine. Like, let's go. Let's be normal humans. Let's just give it a shot and see what happens. And that one fucking time, we let our guard down, dude. It starts with my daughter, hits her for 13 hours, dude. She's puking. She's defecating. The very next day, like, I'm about to bring her up to, give her a bath. And I'm just feeling something imploding in my body. And my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I just need to go fucking lay down. Like, I don't know what's going on." I was bedridden for like ever. It seemed like it felt like a fucking eternity, dude. I lost my taste. I lost my smell. I was vomiting. I was defecating. I felt like somebody took a vice and was just squeezing my rib cage like together. I felt like I got in 6 fights in one day, and I was just, dude, I felt like I got my ass kicked like hard. My perception of reality was altered. Like, I would try to go outside to get some fresh air, and it felt like I was not the Matrix, but like the Truman Show. Like, I was looking up at the sky, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like I'm outside.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like fake.
it felt like I was stimulating myself or something. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's what I was experiencing too. Like,
Dude, it's a
fucked
fever
it fucked us
dream.
up good.
Fever
And
dream, right?
water tasted terrible.
Oh, that's
Like,
bad.
bottled water tasted like it had been stagnant for 2 weeks, and they rebottled it and put it in my fridge. Like, it was god awful, dude. And sometime before that, I put in my order for my Kiesel. So while I'm like recovering, I'm like just like getting back to life. I'm getting my taste back and shit. My phone's going off. Boom, boom, boom. It's going off, and I'm like, just hit me up. And I'm looking at it, and it's Max. Max is like commenting on my music, and I'm like, this is fucking for real? Like, my favorite guitar player is like hitting me up right now. Like, okay, then he's hitting me up on Facebook. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is really, I got COVID right now, dude. Like, you picked a hell of a time to start hitting me up. And so he's like, dude, you want to like, is there any more music like to listen to? And I was like, dude, give me your email address. I'll send you like my whole catalog. Like, you can fucking have all of it, dude. Like, I want you to hear my shit. And he's like, yeah, sick, dude. All right. So we're shooting shit back and forth, and that's when he starts streaming, and I'm being there to support him. My Kiesel arrives and shit, and I'm like, dude, check this out, dude. My fucking Kiesel's here. It's so fucking sick. And he's like, hell yeah, dude. So Max's momentum's building up on Twitch. Nate's writing new ontogeny. And then Max, he starts telling me, he's like, hey, dude, we're recreating cognitive dissonance. I'm like, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking sick. And I was like, dude, if you guys need anything, like, I have because by this time I invested thousands of dollars into Spitfire Audio software. I have the BBC Symphony Orchestra. I have like Hans Zimmer strings. I've invested in Hans Zimmer synthesizer. Like I can compose, I can film score on my own computer now. So it's like it's pretty fucking tight. My wife loses her mind. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get this orchestra and I won't need anything else. And she's like, yeah, fucking right, dude. Like, so then a new library comes out that can't do any, that can only, you can only do this on this library. You can't duplicate it with a sub library. And I'm like, honey, I need this one. And she's like, God fucking damn it. Like, how much of the shit are you gonna buy? I'm like, probably all of it.
Right.
But anyway,
she's off listening to you.
No, my daughter's over here.
Okay.
Up, no, she's fine. What's up? Oh. So anyway, I had invested so much into it, and Max is like, we might take you up on that. And I'm like, no, I'm serious, dude. Like, free of charge on the house. Like, you're my favorite band. I will, whatever you guys need. You need fucking drum samples. You need fucking, synth, whatever you need. Just let me know. Hit me up. And he goes, all right, man. So then he contacts me again. He's like, dude, I pitched this shit to Tim. And Tim's like, yeah, let's hit him up. So I hit up Tim on Instagram and I was like, hey, dude, here's my list of toys. Like right here, like whatever vision you have, like I'm sure we can do it. Like I have sound design, I have this, I have that. So Tim's like, let's Zoom on it. Let's see what you can do. So Tim graciously enough sends me a brand new song, but like in parts.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to see what you can do with this. I was like, well, what are you looking for? And he's like, I'm like, well, if I'm going to do something for you, I need to treat this, I need to make sure it's appropriate. So, what, I don't want to just go willy-nilly and just throw whatever on there, because this is your shit right here. So what are you looking for? So he's like, all right, I'm looking for this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay. So I make him 6 variations of, what he described. And I start sending him videos back and forth. And then we Zoom on it. And he's like, all right, dude. Okay. So, around this time, I recreated the intro to Cognitive Dissonance, like just for fun, whatever. So I was like, you know what? I should probably send this to Tim. So I made a video and I sent it to his Facebook and I said, you maybe want to be interested in this, but this is my, recreation. And if you want it, you can have it. And he's like, can we please have that? I was like, yeah, you can have it for Cognitive Dissonance. And by the way, who's doing drums? And he's like, nobody. We're kind of programming. And I was like, what samples are you using? He said, well, I mean, we're just, doing this and that. I'm like, dude, I'm a drummer. Like, send me the MIDI and I will do my best to make it sound like you hired a world-class drummer. Like, and in fact, I'll do some nuances. If you're okay with it, I'll do some nuances in there because there's a way that I can hear myself playing these songs. He's like, yeah, sure, man. Like, we'll see what fits. So he sends me Cognitive Dissonance first. And then I just, for hours on end, I'm just going through it, mapping it out. And I had my own little customized kit built on Superior Drummer Death and Darkness that was engineered by Mark Lewis. And I sent it back to him and he was reading the message of how ecstatic he was one of the best feelings ever, like to hear that, your hero was pleased, with what you did to his drum MIDI. He was like, all right, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but you want to just be in the band? You want to just come along for the ride? And I like your music and we all like your music. We think, we're all friends and, Nate and Max speak highly of you and, you write sick riffs, and you're a drummer too. And you have all these this cool shit to play with, do you want to, if you want, you can come along. So I was like, dude, I haven't been in a band in over a decade. And if there's any band that I'm going to fucking join, it's going to be this one, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
eating
yeah.
dinner while I'm like reading this text, and my wife, she's like, "What are you smiling about?" I was like, "I'm in Anomalous." This is sick. I'm like, this is the craziest shit ever. I never thought in a million years my number one favorite band would be like, come with us, like,
Oh yeah.
help
That's
us out
rad,
and write
dude.
with us. So
Now it's your band,
no,
apparently.
it's not. No. So
So
yeah,
when I had seen you and Max streaming together that one day, I popped in on you guys for a little bit, and were you what were you doing exactly?
we were charting out on Guitar Pro Cognitive Dissonance itself, but the way we had to do it, because so there's streamers on Twitch who play Rocksmith, right? And the way that you chart out music for Rocksmith is it has to flow to the song, right? So major props to Tim for in 2005, 2006 to making that EP happen with what he had, because all he had was Fruity Loops with no triplet grid. So he had to do some serious math to make triplets and like straight subdivisions happen, on the drums. So he had to go back and forth between 320 BPMs and 240 to like make for example, Cognitive Dissonance going from triplet subdivisions on the drums to straight time subdivisions on the drums. So he was doing what he could, but and I'm hoping I'm not, I'm hoping I'm not mistaken, but I think as a drummer, he's not paying attention to a grid. He's just going like, now I'm going to slide this part over here. Some of those parts that he slid over there, like for like when the music would stop and it would be like the guitar, and then the drums would pick back up and come back in with a drum fill. It started on a 30-second note upbeat just before the next bar. The way that me and Max had to tab this out to work on Rocksmith and to make sure that it flowed with the song, we had to like go through and tab shit on like it looks like a bad chart to put it bluntly, so I'm telling Max, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be fucked up looking. Like any person who reads like charts or sheet music or anything like that, they're gonna go, why are these guys starting on this 30-second upbeat? I was like, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back for the official, because what we're doing is we're also making official tablature for everybody. We're going to make official Cognitive Dissonance tabs with guitar left, guitar right, solo, and bass. But I'm going to go back and make sure that the chart makes sense for everybody, so that when, like, if they're not jamming along to the song and they're not playing Rocksmith, they can look at it and go, okay, here's where this bar starts, here's this and that, and actually have triplet subdivisions. And I'm actually going the extra mile and noting the picking structures, so that you are picking exactly like Max and Nate. And also Guitar Pro 8 now has this feature where it tells you which finger you're using on the fretboard too. So we're literally, if we're going to release tablature, then we're going to make sure that the person studying is, they're not going to have any questions. They're not going to like, if there's not going to be a playthrough, they're not going to need it, because they're going to have the charted, like, okay, index finger, pick stroke down on this fret, right? So it's a lot of work, but why not?
Yeah,
it's worth it for that material, man. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. So
Case is the most guitar pro guy I know. Maybe he would appreciate all the detail for sure. So
yeah, dude,
yeah, man, that's sick, and I'm extremely excited. I had a couple questions about your solo material and how you put that together. So you had an older 8-string you recorded that wasn't your newer Kiesel for that material?
Yeah, it was an Ibanez RGA8, I think is what it's called. It's their cheapest 8-string model. It's that black one with
so that's an RG8. Okay, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to, because one of the things I was worried about was how my guitar tone was going to sound. And thankfully, TuneTrack, they have things to appease guitar players and bass players. They have this plugin called Easy Mix, and you can buy the patch libraries. They're called Metal Guitar Gods, and the first one has all the rhythm, clean, and lead tones from Fredrik Thordendal's Meshuggah, Misha Mansour Periphery, Devin Townsend, and Matthias A. I can't say his Swedish last name. I'm terrible at it. But just the Thordendal and Misha Mansour's tones on it, I was like, okay, I'm grabbing that, And then the second one had Tosin Abasi, Jeff Loomis, and two other guitar players that I can't remember offhand, but I was like, I like Tosin's tones as well. So thankfully I was able to utilize Misha's rhythm tones, Fredrik Thordendal's lead tones, and some of his clean tones. I utilized his bass tone for the bass track. The bass track wasn't a bass guitar. It was my 8-string with an octave shift down and just finger picking it.
Wow.
So I put Frederick's bass tone on that sucker. And then for some of like the tapping cleans and like a little bit of like the only thumping part that is in the second song, that's Tosin's clean tones.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay, so at least I caught the Animals as leaders. I caught the tone, if not necessarily the influence from like being a big fan or something. But that part I was definitely like, well, this is downstream of that style. So
it was definitely a huge melting pot of like, okay, so what I originally wanted it to sound like, because Anomalous wasn't doing anything, they were on their hiatus, and being such a fan of that sound, I was like, nobody else is keeping that sound going. Like, it's kind of angering me. So I'm like, I know some of, I was taught some of Nate's techniques. So I'm like, I want to keep that sound going. I want to keep that little chapter of Bay Area death metal like going, so how do I do that without sounding totally like Anomalous? And that's when Spitfire Audio came through. So I was like, okay, I'm a huge fan of Hans Zimmer, so I'm gonna make this like Anomalous meets Hans Zimmer, like, and just do my own thing, I guess. So it was a pain in the ass to create because of the utilities that I had, such as only 8 gigs of RAM. So what I had to do was I had to do 2 separate sessions. I had to do a session of guitars, bass, and drums on one session, and then bounce those to audio because I didn't have enough RAM, and then open a different session to do all the orchestrals and like strategically plan that. I wish I had the mixing knowledge that I have now, because I think that EP would have sounded way better mixing wise, because sometimes the drums get drowned out from all like the low frequencies of the lower range instruments, and there's no dynamic EQ on the snare, so the snare doesn't pop through the mix as it was supposed to. So
it didn't bother me though. Like hearing it today for the first time, I thought the mix was good. So I mean, I think you should be happy with it for still living out there.
Totally.
Yeah, I was hyped. Yeah,
I'm happy the way that it came out. It's just how an artist is. You look at your own painting and you go, I probably could have done this better.
Yeah. But like finishing and putting something out is better than just perpetually changing it or whatever. So you just kind of, I think it's good that it's been out there simmering.
And I've said it many times on the show, dude. If we were completely satisfied with something that we put out, then I think that we would stop. Or what would be the point then? Because we're chasing something, but we're never actually. It's the carrot in front of the. We're as creators, artists, musicians, whatever. We're never going to fully be satisfied with it, because I think once you are satisfied, you're done.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, also, yeah, like in this day and age, more people are re-recording and re-releasing, and I think there's more comfort with the idea that, you know, a song isn't just a master, but is, you know, a set of ideas or even like a set of stems or whatever. Like, so yeah, you can always do more stuff down the road with like a particular song or set of songs. And like even, you know, like Nail the Mix, putting out like, you know, stems for people to mix and stuff. Like, I think it's cool and there should be more of that. So, um, yeah,
Absolutely.
I think what you could focus on is promotion and pushing this shit a little bit, dude. I mean, I'm kind of like pissed I didn't know about. I mean, I knew of you, and nobody forced it down my throat. I mean, Anthony's great at showing me stuff in the chat right when I need it, but I'm like, why didn't I hear about this 5 years ago? So yeah.
The
Right.
reason why you didn't hear about it is because I am the worst promoter. Like, I'm not the person to just go in and be like, here you go. Like, I'll post it once, but I'm scared to post it twice because I don't want people to be like, I've already seen your shit like later, you know. So
Yeah, it's a tightrope, and there are people who push their shit a little much, and you're like, "All right, dude, I get it," and it like kind of turns you off a little bit. But I mean,
yeah.
I think you're far from that. So
Totally, dude. I think
I'm gonna
definitely a lot
definitely
more
post
people
this
need
shit.
to.
Yeah.
A lot more people need to know about you, dude. And then I think that the Anomalous thing will get your name out there a little bit more too, because that's a more known name, you know, in our bubble. So I mean, everybody's kind of freaking out that I see every day somebody talking about Anomalous coming back, you know, and so that's really cool. That's exciting, and then you're a part of that. So then that's when what's that rubber band effect, your shit right after that you shoot out some more Lanyon stuff, the SL2, dude.
I have something brewing. I have about 4 songs finished. They need a little love here and there. But then I'm struggling with writer's block here and there. So I'm not taking a break from it, just not putting it on the back burner, just be like, hey, you just chill for a minute. I need to go have an experience, you know,
Yeah.
and come back to it. And Anomalous is definitely helping with that, like very much. Now I have new riff ideas that are appropriate. So I have like a division of riffs. So I'm like, okay, there's riffs that are Anomalous appropriate, and then there's riffs that are not Anomalous appropriate. And the reason why I say they're not Anomalous appropriate is because I'm being a little selfish and putting them for Sam Lanyon stuff. So it's cooking. It's just cooking slowly because I'm a little more focused on Anomalous right now. So
Yeah. Right on.
Working on Cognitive Dissonance Recreate was a blast, to say the least. What we have done as far as the atmosphere of the album, I cannot wait. It's 10 days from now.
Sick.
So the release, and I'm just excited that people are going to hear it. That's one of the things that helped getting it done too was Tim. Tim knows how to make decisions. So my problem is I can sit there on one theme and spend hours on it. Working with Tim was a breeze because it was nice to have somebody else there after working by myself for so long. It was nice to have somebody else there go and be like, that's it, that's the one. Don't do anything else.
Yeah.
That's good. That's perfect. Like, let's move on. And I'm like, are you sure there's nothing else? He's like, I'm positive. Let's go. Like, don't touch it. It's marinated. It's ready. Let's move on. And I'm like, okay. So it was nice to have somebody there to be like, okay, like, like, don't spend too much time on it, you know?
Yeah, you can definitely get into the vortex of, you know, getting stuck on one part and perfecting one thing.
It's also because I have the fear of like listening to it after it's finalized and going, you know what I could have done also. Because like sometimes my brain will like find gaps of it'll be like 2 milliseconds of like that part's boring. So I'll go back and, you know, refine it and tweak it again. So it was pretty cool when there was like a couple of like week breaks and stuff. And I'd send it to Tim like, hey, this is what I have found in this part, to like make things a little bit more entertaining. What do you think about it? He's like, dude, that's perfect. Like you've captured everything and more. And like now the recreate he's probably more excited than I am, or I'm more excited than he is. I don't know. All I know is getting the feedback from the guys, like Nate, Max, everyone, like Nate was like, dude, everything you've done here for this is like super sick, by the way. It was an amazing feeling hearing that, like,
Definitely.
okay, like I think it's ready. Like I don't need to mess with it anymore. Like the fact that everyone's saying like this is great. Let's send it. Let's print it. Get some merch. It's done. Like we're
yeah.
good. So
Yeah, we're excited too, dude. And the fact that you guys are, the project's getting reinvigorated, and the first release is getting its proper package, because I remember coming across that back in the day, because it was a Brutal Bands release or something. I think it was Brutal Bands, and I loved it, but yeah, it was the mix that was lacking. It had so much more potential, and you could understand that, and it's still a great record, and I listened to it so much. But that was the one thing where I was like, if this was mixed better, this would be,
yeah, and Nate
way better than it is. And
Nate
it's already
did
great.
Nate did a fantastic job on that too. Like so sending it to him, like when he sent like the mix downs at first, I was like, fuck, this sounds like it's ready to go. But then he sent the file of it with a master. And then I popped that in the work truck, and I'm like, I cannot believe what this sounds like now. Like then I go back and compare it to the 2006 EP. I'm like, dude, it sounds fresh.
Hell
Like,
yeah, dude.
it sounds like a whole nother band, and it's
so yeah, now it gets its proper debut, and you're a part of it, dude. And then this means there's got to be some new Anomalous stuff in the future too, right? You guys talking about that?
There is new. I can't divulge too much, info, but all I can say is it's insane.
Hell yeah.
It is fucking insane. We are very busy. Tim's already writing lyrics. There's a lot of plans, and it's I'm excited and curious to see what the end result is like gonna sound like, because already me and Tim have already like did the topsy-turvy slopes of the 3D landscapes of one song already, and it's that's all I'm gonna say about
That's
it.
super cool, dude.
It's definitely new, it's fresh, and it's we have a long road ahead of us, but I'm really excited to see where it's going to go.
Well, I think that the world will be happy to hear the new record, or the recreation record, and then also anything you guys were to do after that. We would all accept it with open arms.
Hell yeah.
So just let it do its thing, dude. I mean, I love that we've kind of been able to keep an eye on this project ever since, Nate came back. He came on the show. I forget what his episode was, his first episode. And then we dragged Max out of the cave and onto the show. And then he started streaming, and then one thing leads to another, and you hear Anomalous is coming back. And I just think it's so cool that like everybody's like,
we gave
juicing everybody
push
up again. Yeah, everybody's juicing each other up, Oh, here we go. Beat it out. # beat it out.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, dude, this is awesome, dude. Sam, you're a rad dude. We could talk to you for a long time, bro. It's already 11 though. We got I gotta go take a shower. I haven't even showered after work today, dude. I kind of smell, and I put on this new Gorgut shirt for you guys, and I'm probably now
That's a
got some
sick Gorgat
BO.
shirt.
Yeah, dude. I ordered it. It was because I went to that show at the Warfield, and Luke gave me erosion shirt, but I left in the awe of the night, forgetting that I wanted a tour shirt. So this is a Obscura shirt with the dates on the back. So there was an opportunity afterwards. I guess they had leftover merch where they might have were doing another print or something, because I pre-ordered it when somehow they did like a pre-order thing through the Gorguts Facebook or some shit like that. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, I haven't actually had a tour shirt in a while that shows, evidence of a show that I went to, so why not get the fucking Obscura artwork? Look at that, dude. I love that.
Okay,
so sick, dude. The strings across the fucking skull.
Yeah,
So
looks like a harp I'd love to sample.
It'd be like some evil cannibal cults fucking band is playing this instrument, dude.
Right. Yeah.
On the Friday night cookout, cooking up some neighbors.
Fuck yeah.
All right, dudes. Well, this was rad, dude. Thank you for giving us your time, Sam. We'd love to have you back. We need to get Tim on, because we have to get the full roster now.
You definitely need to get Tim on, dude. He's huge.
Tim and I would definitely. Me and Native talked about Tim, and me and Tim have similar interests in film and stuff like that too. So we might have to do a little film tangent when he's on too. But I'd love to have Tim on, and it's cool that that record's coming out. You said December 31st. That's
December 31st is Cognitive Dissonance EP re-release.
Hell yeah, dude! You could rock that shit out in your New Year's Eve parties, dude.
Fuck yeah,
all right, dude.
Yeah.
Quick Spitfire. Speaking of Spitfire, the fucking plugs: battleforgecoffee.com, generatorrehearsalstudios.com, CaliDeathPodcast.bigcartel.com. What was yours, Sam?
Mine was Anomalous. You can find. I wish I knew the actual website. That's kind of a long one. Give me a second. But yeah, we have pre-orders up for Cognitive Dissonance EP. We have. So it is anomalous.metal.bigcartel.com. You can find our package or pre-order packages for the Cognitive Dissonance. You will get the package itself. It comes with a CD, a T-shirt, and a poster. We also have the individual items being sold: a poster, T-shirt, and CD. And you will also find copies of Omnivalent there if you haven't bought your copy back in 2011.
Yep.
Nice.
I got mine, and I got my Pillars of Perversion Ontogeny OG physical copy of that shit too. That's prized possession right there. All right, shout out to all you guys in the chat. Loved you. Have a great holiday. We're not going to be back until are we coming back at the end of the month? Is that what it is? We're not coming back
We're just skipping this week.
Yeah, a week from this week. So a week from today.
We'll be back first week of January.
Yeah, you guys go spend some time with your family. You feel free to go watch old episodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say catch that one you skipped.
There's 160 of them you can pick from now. God damn. But yeah, dude, you guys all rule.
yeah.
Sam, you rule. Resident homies, you rule. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Rock on. We'll see you next whenever.
Yes,
Cheers.
sir.
Cheers, brothers.
Should I take the video?
Go for it.